For calling this meeting to order. Tonight we'll have Loa'a do the prayer for us.
Let's bow our heads. Thank you, God, for this time to be together. I just pray for the Moku o Wai'anae that we can work together as a community. God, you know, it's tough with what's going on in life, and everybody has to deal with their own kind of stuff. So I pray that you give us the strength, the wisdom, the discernment to see through things, to help one another, to be mindful of others, so that we can help with our hearts and continue to elevate one another so that we can become a strong force here in the island. God, give us the love in our hearts. Help us to be patient with one another, to learn, to be mindful. And I pray that as we discuss things tonight, that you help us to listen intently, to think about what we're going to say so that we can build one another up, so that we can help push us forward, you know. I've been thinking about this idea called Wai'anae forward, and I pray that we can continue to push each other forward, help one another, help each other up, and so that we can be successful together in whatever endeavors that we do. We thank you so much. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Appreciate it. Okay, declaration of any conflicts by board members. Nope. Okay. Okay. Next item on the agenda is City Emergency and First Responders Report. So Honolulu Fire Department.
Good evening, board. Fire Captain Colin Reyes from Wai'anae Fire Station. So some statistics for January: 1 structure fire, 7 nuisance calls, 1 cooking fire, 3 activated alarms, 156 medical alarms, 3 mountain rescues, 2 motor vehicle collisions, 2 ocean rescues, and 1 hazardous materials incident. That's pretty much all the stats I have. As far as our fire tip for the month of February, it's going to be the Honolulu Fire Department reminds the public to call 911 first if you have an emergency. Do not drive to a fire station nearest your location. It is very possible that the fire company will not be at the fire station due to responding to other emergencies or performing other duties such as fire inspections, training, and educational activities. When you call 911, the operator will dispatch the closest available fire company to your emergency. Remember when calling 911 to give the operator your initial need, police, fire, or EMS. And after you've been transferred to the appropriate agency, an accurate description of your need and your address location. The HFD is also able to field 911 text messages. So if you find yourself in a spot where you do not have good reception for voice communication, say you're out hiking, you can go ahead and text your emergency to 911. That's a tip for the month of February.
Okay, any questions in person from the community? Online? Nope. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Oh, sorry, we got one. Go ahead. Salcido, go ahead. If you're talking, you're muted. Unmute yourself, please, Salcido.
Okay, I did unmute.
Start the video.
Okay. I have a concern because there is a fire at Cal Beach Park in Makahasai. A car was set on fire. Did you guys find out any suspect? I mean, it really torched that tree, yeah? And then on Makaha Surfing Beach, there was a truck in the sand that was vandalized. You know, if there's any outcome of any suspect being, captured?
As far as that goes, I think that would be police. You would have to talk with police for that one to find what their investigation, if there is any investigation for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Salcido. Appreciate it. Okay, thank you, HFD. Appreciate your time. Next up, we got Honolulu Police Department, HPD.
Hello, good evening. Sergeant Morioka with HPD District 8 Community Policing Team. Also, sorry, also online is Acting Sergeant Roland Pagan. I have the crime stats for January 2026. Motor vehicle thefts in our district, there were 27. Wai'anae had 3. Burglaries, 12 for the district. Wai'anae had 5. Total of 113 thefts in our district. Wai'anae had 40. UEMVs or vehicle break-ins, 24 in our district. 10 in Wai'anae area. 30 speeding. 700 moving violations. Parking violations, 54. Total citations, 1,227 issued. Total calls for service in our district was 8,450. Calls in Wai'anae total was 2,352. I don't have any announcements. Any questions? Corporal or Acting Sergeant Pagan is going to answer them.
Hi, good evening, board. Just to respond to Mr. Alcido's question, as of right now, as far as we know, there was no suspect arrested for the fire. Yeah, so
Okay, thank you, Corporal Pagan. We have one community member in person. Go ahead, sir.
Loa Apine, Homestead, Pahe'ehe Ridge. My question to you officers is, what is the cultural training that you guys give to your officers on the Wai'anae side? Or is there any kind of cultural training that you guys do?
okay, well, let me ask you this in specific. What are you talking about as far as cultural training? We treat everybody the same. We don't let people go because they're Hawaiian. We don't tag them because they're Hawaiian. We don't let them go because they're from the mainland. We don't cite them because they're from the mainland. So what are you specifically talking about?
Okay, do you guys train anything on like transgenerational trauma? Do any of the officers understand that?
Our officers are trained in the law. They're not trained as psychologists. So I guess transgenerational trauma would come more under psychology and psychiatrists. We do deal with criminal activity, and if there's activity that's being performed by someone that we may believe that he is in psychological, psychiatric crisis, we have a doctor that we contact and we inform them of the situation, and they make the decision whether or not we take them voluntarily to the hospital or involuntarily.
Okay, so officers are literally just trained to enforce the law and not use any of their na'au or gut instincts to understand what's going on when they're entering a situation.
Well, officers are trained to use practical knowledge and stuff like that. But if you're talking about not arresting someone because there may be generational trauma, if they committed a crime, they committed a crime. That's for the courts to decide. So I'm not sure exactly if that answers your question or what you're
No,
actually.
yeah, that does. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else in person before we go online? Go ahead.
Officer Pagan, Pikachu Shelby Boner. Could you give Wai'anae an update? We know there's a human trafficking. 8 endangered kids were rescued in town area. Are you able to elaborate on any of that? Thank you.
As far as I know, it's an ongoing investigation. That was mostly handled by our narcotics vice as well as the FBI. So that would be outside of our jurisdiction.
Okay. Online we have Johnny May Perry. Johnny May, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Corporal Pagan, this is just a suggestion. I to help better utilize both departments, and this has to do with parking situation. You know, in our community, there's a lot of derelict cars which should not be on the road, and for that reason, it takes up space for cars that are registered and legal. So just consider certain like parking violations, coordinate with Department of Motor Vehicle. And the reason why I suggest that is because they mail out thousands of mail pieces. So in coordination to help HPD with enforcement, I think that would be a good avenue to explore working with Department of Vehicle on the laws that you want to enforce to the community, and then you have problems with that e-bikes and so forth. So I would leave that up to HPD and motor vehicle to work together on the mail out, informing the public of the laws. That would help you guys as well.
Okay,
That's my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Johnny.
you,
If,
Chair.
if I can, one of the suggestions that we ask, and this can kind of come to the board, and maybe they can bring it up towards with the local officials. Is, to be honest, one of the issues that we have with parking violations is the toll company, the contract that's being issued by not issued by the way the toll contract is issued and handled. The problem is right now that there's one company that actually has the entire island. So what happens if an officer goes and they need to tag a vehicle and they want to actually tow a vehicle, if the tow company is busy, they'll send somebody from somewhere, which means we could be sending a tow company from town to come to Makaha to tow a vehicle that we want to get rid of. The problem with that is if an officer has to stay off with a parked vehicle for an hour to 2 hours, you're taking away police resources. So one of the things that we do ask, and one of the things that maybe the board can look into as well as working with the legislators, is going back to the way it was before with a zone tow, where you would have one tow company that handled Wai'anae, you would have the one that handled Kapolei or Wai'anae, Kapolei and Evo or something like that. So whenever we called for a tow wagon, the tow company was coming from within the district, so we wouldn't have so many issues. A couple of weeks ago, there was a major accident on the freeway coming westbound. I got stuck in it in Aiea. It took me about an hour to get from Aiea to Eva. And I realized when I was coming back to Eva, the tow truck was coming from Aiea and he was stuck in the traffic. There's a small, the accident was actually right before the Eva off. So from Aiea to Eva, traffic was backed up past that because the tow wagon was coming from the Aiea area. And again, if the tow truck was actually coming from a company that was within the district, he could have easily possibly gotten up to the area quicker to get the roads clear and stuff like that. So that's one thing that I've been asking for a while and trying to get our representatives and the boards to push as well, because getting the wagons to tow vehicles for parked vehicles, again, it takes a lot of time for the officers, and I'm sure the community would rather have our officers handling cases than sitting and waiting for a tow wagon to come because they're coming from another part of the town. But I like that idea, and hopefully the mayor's reps, the office and mayor's rep can actually work with the DMV as far as sending those things out.
Okay, but you will explore my suggestion because that's a prevention that can publicly educate the public.
Yeah.
Thank
The
you.
DMV would actually have to send those out. We wouldn't have addresses for all the vehicles, so DMV could possibly
No,
send
no.
those
You
out.
what HPD would do is a one-page flyer so they can insert it in the mail out. So you do a flyer about enforcing, educating the public, hand it over to DMV. So when they do their 1,000 pieces of mail out, your flyer will go along with that piece of mail. It's prevention and informing the public of the laws. Like the e-bikes, for example, and illegal parking. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what that is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Johnny May. We have Cross, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to add more contextual response to constituent Lawa'a's question. I know that HPD and the prosecuting attorney's office was in conversations about providing cultural training for future trainings within HPD and the prosecuting attorney's office. If he wants to connect offline to talk more about that, please feel free to give him my contact information after. I apologize, I'm on virtual.
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, we do have bias-based training within the department, but it's not, again, it really depends on what exactly your question is as far as cultural sensitivity. Because someone claims that they're sovereign, we're not going to let them drive without a license and registration, expired tax and safety, and release them when we stop them and they say they're a sovereign citizen, because they are still violating the law. So Again, it depends on what you're talking about as far as culture sensitivity.
Thank
But
you,
I'll give you a
Corporal
call.
Pagan.
I'll
Oh,
give you a
yeah,
call.
yeah. We'll put together the specific questions for you guys. Thank you.
Go ahead. Go ahead, James.
Hi, this is James Coles. Happy New Year, Corporal Pagan. I want to find out what, how the police department feels about restricting people riding in the back of the trucks on the freeway. We had an unfortunate, as you know, we had a very unfortunate incident on the freeway where a young lady lost her life by sitting in the back of the pickup truck and got rear-ended. My feeling is if they're on the freeway, they don't belong in the back of the truck. The way the people driving nowadays is it's nuts. But I just wanted to find out department feels about that situation and what the police department is going to be doing or would be doing to stop that practice.
Okay, thank you. I can't really speak for the police department in that regard. I can speak personally. And one of the things that came up in the past was the fact that trucks are being used. There's not a lot of families that, I'm sorry, there's a lot of families that only have one vehicle and a truck works for everything. So to limit how they get their family around is something difficult. I do personally like Rep. Keela's suggestion and what he's pushing forward as far as these trucks and passengers being not allowed to ride in areas where the speed limit is higher. And again, HPD will do whatever the law decides. As of right now, there's laws regarding the age of someone riding in the back and whether they're sitting on top of the truck rail and stuff like that. But other than that, someone sitting in the back of the truck is not illegal at the moment. So there's nothing that we would be doing in that sense. Personally, I don't like the idea of there being laws to regulate people's safety. I think if anything, maybe insurance companies should get involved. But again, that's my personal opinion. And like I said, we'll just see what legislation does with Rep. Keela's proposal.
Thank you. We have one more online. Salcido, go ahead.
Sergeant Fumi and Corporal Pagan earlier about Saturday evening at KL Beach Park in the parking lot on the east-west side of the northwest side of the parking lot. The vehicle was scorched. It had damaged the Milo trees, the nearby vicinity. I mean, big time. And we try to preserve and preservation of that park itself. But these vehicles, are we starting the trend again as far as being stolen vehicles, being brought to the KL Beach Park and being burnt to get rid of evidence? In Makaha Beach, there was a 4x4 truck that badly damaged on the beach, on the sand area. It had to be towed Sunday. So you're dealing with hazardous material, waste material coming from these vehicles, and this is on city's jurisdiction itself. I think we brought up some other issues as well. Our parks chair listen to this also. We also have feral dogs on the KL Beach Park roaming again. It's being brought in by the encampments. They're unleashed, roaming the area. That threatens the agriculture landowners nearby. And City Resolution 22-151 is incomplete. Those gates at a certain time, but this was on a Saturday. It was supposed to be occupied by campers, and I'm certain somebody had seen something somewhat with the campers there. This vehicle being scorched, arsons again. This is multiple arsons that's in the area, and I hate to finger point things, but the normal person wouldn't burn a vehicle in the parking lot. You know, they have some kind of bad motive that's going on, but it does destroy the environment in that area. It poses as an environmental hazard. So we need to vigilantly look into what's going on, but we definitely need to control under that City Resolution 22-151. The year is 2022. It's still incomplete. Those gates are not locked down on Wednesdays and Thursdays, And if there's no school, or if there is school in session, I'm sorry, the camping
Okay.
is minimized. You're only allowed to be camping there Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. That's
Uncle
it.
Austin, your time is up a
Yeah.
while. I let you finish, but can
No, I
you
appreciate
please
that. Thank you.
email? Can you
So
please
we need
email that
answers. We need
whatever
accountability.
further? Yes, I agree.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. We're gonna move on. HPD, thank you so much for your time. Moving on to Honolulu Ocean Safety Department.
Thank you, board, for having us here again. Sorry, we have a rescue going on right now, so I'm gonna have to dig out. I'll give you the highlights for the month of January. For Macau Beach, we had a vessel in distress. We towed them out. Pokai Bay, we had a vessel on the rocks at midnight. HPD and I believe HFD got the two people were sent to the hospital. Tower 43, which is Miley Beach Park, we had HPD assist us twice. We had two people that are arrested, tried to swim out and evade HPD. We assisted them. We get this a lot more than you think. We had a couple car accidents that we responded to on Farrington Highway. 3 fights at Pokai Bay, which we called HPD, and they helped us out there greatly. We had a monk seal at Pokai Bay, which we untangled. It was entangled in rope. We got the rope off. The seal's fine right now. We had Makua, and Macau, we had multiple sharks. We informed the public and kept them away. And then it's been kind of a slowish winter, not much huge surf, except for right now. And I do have the maps and the addresses of all our towers. I'd like to give them to the board. I apologize that I did not put down the address to. We have a substation at Ko'olina Harbor. Ko'olina's give us access to their harbor, so we have 2 rescue crews. One patrols from Ko'olina to Miley Green Lanterns. The other one goes from Green Lanterns to Kaina Point. So I'll give you guys. We do have a ski and tow right now, and I believe they broke down the channel at Macau Beach. At the harbor right about now. I'm going to make sure everybody's safe. If there's any questions, I can answer them. And I will get you guys I'll email you guys the stats.
Cool, appreciate that. Anybody in person question for Ocean? Yeah. You know what, we'll take questions offline and then I'll email it to you.
You have my email address?
Yes.
We did it was the emergency responder day at Wai'anae High School, and there's another one at Nanakuli. Yeah.
March 6th, yeah.
But yeah, we'll be there for sure.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for your time, appreciate it. Sorry, we're allowing him to leave because there is an emergency at this time, so we're gonna let him depart. Moving on to Board of Water Supply. Okay, we're gonna skip Board of Water Supply and go to Military Official Report, Army Rep.
Hi, team. It's Major Patrick Wolf from the 25th Infantry Division. I'll be responding on behalf of Lieutenant Colonel Stroh and the information he gathered from the last meeting. The first question that was posed to the military was about our rotary wing movements and the request for prior notification of flight paths. Flight paths are not publicable since they're governed by the Federal Aviation Administration. So what we try to do is we try to create a flight path to be good neighbors and to make sure that we stay out of the area. But at the end, we publish them to the FAA and then the FAA to ensure that we are deconflicted with local and state movements in the airspace. They do the finalized mission planning, and that is typically within 12 hours of that flight time. So again, we will do our best to maintain and be good neighbors and ensure that our flights and everything are published in advance, but for flight paths, that would be a FAA consideration. The next question is about the coast-to-coast soil contamination during training. So from the Department of Public Works Environmental Division, the U.S. Army follows our standard operating procedures, which is to wash and inspect all vehicles from the point of departure before proceeding to follow-on training areas. If we notice that there's any type of leak or issue with hazmat, we report those spills to the environmental division, and then the environmental division will come out and test those areas to ensure that they're cleaned properly before we are allowed to move on. And then the last question that was on here for me to answer for this was the MMR fence line clearance. Does the U.S. Army conduct clearance and surveys from the division training and support systems? We do not survey the fence line in general. We do monitor and keep clear the doors built to the fence to allow the streams to flow when they rise. We inspect all streams and crossings and washout points within MMR, and those located are surveyed by the EOD, the Explosive Ordnance Detachment. Those clearances and surveys typically mobilize to fix in the wet season with erosion and during the late spring. And we are currently not aware of any active surveys outside of the fence line. I'll push it over for questions.
Okay, we have one in person. Go ahead.
Aloha, Major. This is Loa Apine, Homestead, Pahe'e Ridge, Wai'anae. My question is, if hypothetically speaking, if you were Hawaiian and you knew that Makua was being bombed and, you went through all that kind of stuff, with the leases being up in 2029 and you being a Hawaiian, hypothetically, what would you look for in the military from your perspective, from the U.S. Army, of how you can assist your people to help clean up Makua?
I'll take the question and I'm gonna push it through to the garrison because I know the garrison does have the public relations teams to answer
No,
these.
I know
these
that. The question
questions to
is for
ensure-
you specifically, Major. Just
Yeah,
for
I mean,
hypothetically speaking, I'm not trying to get a got you out of you. I'm just curious, like
Yeah,
from your
I mean, but-
perspective.
Yeah, I'm here to speak on behalf of the military, though. So if we're going to have a military answer to this, it needs to go through the proper personnel to ensure that it's answered to the satisfaction that's required by the U.S. Army.
Copy that. And then last question: can we grab lunch?
Of course. When you coming up?
Okay, I'll get your information. How can I get your information?
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat. I'll put my email.
Shoots. Mahalo.
Of course. Thank you for your time.
Anybody else in person before I go online? Anybody online? Okay, Johnny May, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. My question, sir, is the possibility of doing a video of Makua, like a tour, a video tour of Makua. If the military could do something like that and work with Malama Makua group so that the Kupunas can view Makua Valley from their home, because most of us are not physically able to physically make that hike. So if the military consider making a video of the entire Makua with working with Makua Malama Makua group. Thank you.
I'll take the note and I'll pass it up to Garrison and see if we can get our public affairs detachment to make a video of the of everything, and then we'll work through the Malama Makua group.
Okay, thank you. We have Francie Luana Whitfield. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, I had my. My name is Francie Whitfield, and I am recently on the Pearl Harbor Hickam Kalailua Restoration Advisory Board, and recently became the new community co-chair. And the gentleman that spoke in person brought up a good question that I kind of want to follow up on. As the new community co-chair, one of our things is we have 2 other RABs that are also currently not up and running, and I'd like to help get those up and running. But at the same time, with the leases expiring, I would like to see the military take initiative and set up RABs to clean up those areas that are a concern to the Hawaiians. Can you look into possibly starting a RAB?
I can get with the garrison, and then from garrison and U.S. Army Garrison Hawaii overall, we can work with both the Navy and the Marines and look at setting up RABs. I'll take the note and I'll pass it up to Colonel Sullivan.
Yes,
for,
please.
for
Thank you.
development, of course.
Okay,
Thank
we
you.
had one more online. Dina, go ahead, Dana.
So my question in regards to last month I posed a question in regards to how do we receive some of the cultural items that may have been taken by the military. How do we get them returned back to our community? Any type of ki'i, pohaku that may have cultural significance that is held in your care, how do we get those items back to our community? I have another question in regards to when we have heavy rains and things wash off and end up in our streamways from military installations, what kind of efforts does the military use to mitigate any type of contaminants from entering into our waterways?
So for the water, are we just talking about like every day, just like strong rains, like, and then we're afraid that what is a potential contaminant on a military base getting just washed into the public? Is that the question?
Yes, into our waterways, specifically into the Vai.
Sorry, I'm not looking at you. I'm looking through like previous questions and seeing if they've been answered, so I can give you an honest answer back. I don't see that direct question being answered, so I'm gonna take it and I'll pass that up with the other one to the environmental division and see exactly how they're working through. The only one that I had was about the our SOPs and making sure how we clean, and then for our vehicles specifically, I believe was the question before about making sure that we report up any hazmat and that gets cleaned. So for installations having potential contaminants during heavy rainfalls, I don't think that was passed up. I will pass that up to our environmental division for an answer.
Okay, so there's 2 questions that you're going to pass up. One, once again, how do
The
we
cultural
as a
item.
community, how do we as a community receive cultural items that may have been taken or discovered on military installations? How are those items returned back to the native people? And then number 2 is what kind of mitigation the military does in order to ensure that our water is not contaminated by any contaminants that may be on military property.
Okay, I'm going to read it back to make sure I have it properly because I want to get you an honest answer. So, how do we get cultural items back that may have been taken or discovered on military installations? Is the first one, and then the second one is what are the mitigation processes from the military to ensure that we do not contaminate any of the waterways?
Yes, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Online, we have Salcido. Salcido, go ahead. They'll be the last one.
Aloha. I had asked this question like about 4 years ago and 3 years ago and in 2 years, and still not get an answer. I have brought up about the rhinoceros snot that they spray to keep the dust down on that makua, and that thing breaks up during the years, especially when Hawaii has a lot of hot sun. It breaks up to little beads, and it washes into our ocean. Once again, I'm gonna ask, did the military even test the sands there for the rhinoceros snot? And you all know where that is, because that they use that in Afghanistan, everything. We still did not get an answer from 4 years ago, 3 years ago, and 2 years ago about those type of testing, because that leads to our ocean, that goes in our oceans. And we also know that is cancer causing. So I want to know, did you guys ever do a testing on our sands out there and in the oceans? That is my question.
You said it was rhinoceros knot.
Snot. They call it rhinoceros snot. Yes. It's a chemical that they spray like a minimize the dust, like a silicone on the ground. They also use that for helicopter thick landings. But it breaks up to little beads, and when it washes down into the ocean. You know, when the heavy rains that we have now and then on the Wai'anae side, that thing goes into the, onto the stream, the open stream that leads to the ocean. We had not even heard of any testing by the military, period. And we've been asking that for a study on that for years. So I would really appreciate if they collaborate and, let our community know and our neighborhood know, when can you folks do the testing that we requested 4 years ago.
Okay. I'm gonna again say it back to make sure that I'm asking the question that you're asking. So has the military ever tested the rhinoceros snot sprayed on the local areas, and what are our mitigations to see if we've ever tested to ensure that it hasn't washed down into the ocean and the parks during the heavy rains?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Okay, Lieutenant Colonel Wolf, thank you. There's no more questions in person. Major Wolf. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it, sir.
Thank you very much.
Now we on to board business, approval of meeting minutes from January 6, 2026.
Make motion.
I second.
We
Oh,
have
go
motion
ahead,
for
Auntie
the
Kim.
note.
I second Auntie Kim's board member Hoku's motion. Thank you.
So Kim, you made the motion and Cross second. Okay. Any discussion? Okay, seeing there's no discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next one is board member attendance at community meetings, public hearings for January.
I did one, Richard Lanford. I was at the Nanakuli meeting that they had.
Okay, that was the committee meeting, yeah, Uncle.
Yeah, that was the one, man, yeah, committee meeting they had.
Transportation, yeah?
No, they had, it was gonna cancel their, last month's meeting, but then they had only
the
emergency
special meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
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 That's the only one. Thank you.
Anybody else in person? No.
Chair,
Go ahead.
board member Crab. I attended the January meeting for the Neighborhood Board Commission Neighborhood Plan Subcommittee meeting.
Okay, got that. And then I attended the HPD's SPO planning on January 9th. Moving on to presentations. So we have City and County Department of Environmental Services, a refuse division.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, members of the board, and good evening, the Wai'anae residents. My name is Henry Gabriel. I'm the Recycling Program Branch Chief for the City and County of Honolulu. And I'm here just to present on really what is recyclable in the blue card, what is compostable in the green card, and then what is recycling other types of items. So in the blue card, you can put in any color glass bottle or jar. So that's normally a clear, an amber, and a green. You can put in aluminum cans. You can put in bimetal cans. You can put in newspaper, corrugated cardboard only, white paper, and there's colored office paper as well. And then you can also put in plastics 1 and 2. In general, a plastic number 1 is going to be your beverage container. Your number 2 is like a milk gallon container or a detergent container. For your green composting cart, anything that grows on the ground can be put into that cart. So if it's a fruit, vegetable, seed, grass, weeds, palm fronds, tree stumps, you can put them into that green composting cart. Then at our convenience centers, transfer stations, we have recycling for compressed gas tanks. Those are your propane tanks, your fire extinguishers. We have tire recycling over there. We also have metal recycling. We have e-waste. E-waste is our newest program. So e-waste is your flat screen television, your monitors, your hard drives, and things like that. And I think that's about it. Oh, and appliances. So your stoves, your washers. So all of those too, as all of you know, at a convenience center, they're all separated out. And we do have contractors that will accept those items and then dispose of them properly, more or less recycling. And that's really all about the recycling. Are there any questions?
Do you folks recycle the AC units like those through the wall?
The
Those,
wall units.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll take those at our convenience centers and transfer stations, and how we recycle them is we'll extract any type of refrigerant first, and then the carcass will be shredded and then divided into ferrous and non-ferrous metals, and then recycled. Yes.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Anybody in person? Oh, go ahead, Joe.
So the tires at the convenience center
Mhm.
with rims or without rims, and how many per day?
It doesn't matter if it's with rims or without rims, and I believe it's 4 per month. I'd have to double check on that, but I think it's 4 per month.
Thank you.
Okay. This law Rich, I want to reach out. If wasn't your guys' division or whoever was environmental services, mahalo for coming to Pahe'ehe'e Road all the way down at the end where the road ends. The truck came out and they picked up a lot of the tires and removed a lot of the trash there. So mahalo for that. My other question is, do you guys have any kind of video or trainings that get old acetylene and oxygen tanks? I just want to learn how to like open them up safely just so I can expel those things that's in there so I can put them back on and still keep them. I don't want to recycle them, but how do I get those knobs at the top off to clear the tanks of whatever gases that are in there? Or how do I do that properly?
Yeah, so we don't instruct people how to disassemble, especially an acetylene tank or an oxygen tank, because those are commercially generated tanks. Maybe what you can do is contact a household or a hazardous waste company. Penco is one of them. Enviro Services is another. And they probably can give you some guidance on how to do that because those are commercial style tanks.
Anybody else in person? Okay, go to the mic.
This is James Coles. My question is, when we go to the transfer station, we take our green waste. I've been noticing before they used to put them in a separate separate bin. Now they mix it with regular rubbish. Um, why is that? I thought the green waste is supposed to be separate from the household rubbish and whatever else they want to throw in the rubbish bins over there. Um, I feel that the green waste should be separated because it's going to get mulched. It's going to be taken down to earth products and get mulched anyway. But why mix it with the other household item?
This mixing of loads occurs at Wai'anae Convenience Center, Eva, Waipahu, and oh, those are the only three. And the reason for that is the traffic flow. So when these convenience centers are full, we want to move traffic because we're getting the complaints. The lines are long, this and that. And so we mix the loads and then it ends up at, H power to burn. We would prefer the green waste to be separated out. These convenience centers were not designed for any type of sort separation. So when we have metal, when we have green waste, now you're down to like 2 or 3 bins just for garbage. And when people come, that's really what causes the long lines. And so we're working, especially for Eva, Waipahu, we will be having a bigger center. And then that way there'll be definitely more room where we can recycle the green waste. We would prefer that. No organics inside the waste stream. We would prefer it go to our city contractor. Yes.
Aloha and thank you for coming to share this with us. My name is Lokana. But as residents, there's a lot of it that's mixed up, regardless of the color of the bin, although there's designated things for that. How terrible is that do those things get sorted at a certain point? Our people need to know that there's a reason for the colors and the contents in there to help expedite. Could you explain that a little more? Thank you.
So we call it contamination. Contamination is huge when you're looking at the green bin and then the blue bin. So like with plastics, for instance, there are 7 different types of plastic. We only take 2, 1 and 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 does end up in that blue recycling bin. Goes to our contractor, R Recycling, and with plastic specifically, they're hand sorting it. So you have a conveyor belt that's coming through. They're taking out the 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7s because they cannot recycle it. That goes into a residue bin and then that ends up at H power. At your green waste bin, I've seen garden hoses. Why? Because it's green. It goes in your green waste bin? No, it's PVC. That's your number 3 plastic. So we see blankets, we see basketballs, and these are in both your blue and your green bin. Now, we did a waste audit in 2017. It's on our website, honolulu.gov /Opala. And it will show you per district what your contamination rate is for that blue card. I don't know it offhand for Wai'anae. I do know that it's upwards of 23% in some areas. So that tells me that that blue bin full 64 or 96 gallon can, 24 or 23%, 1/4 of that is contamination. So you do have people hand sorting. Hawaiian Earth, for instance, they take all the green waste. You have a few people, whether they're hand picking a bag, they don't know what's in the content in that bag, or taking out a hose, like I mentioned, or a blanket. It's a lot of what I see is that the blue and the green bin is used as an overflow for the gray bin. So that's why we have this, we continuously do this education to try and get people to do the right thing, to put the right items in there. And believe me, it's not that difficult. It's, when you think of plastics 1 and 2, it's really beverage containers, and then you get your detergent bottle. That's a number 2. And so your cardboard, everybody wants to put magazines. Everybody wants to put envelopes. And that's everybody wants to put paperboard. That's your cereal boxes. That's not corrugated. So when we say corrugated, it's a cardboard box. And it's like a sandwich with that squiggly line, so very easy to identify. But what people do is like, oh, paper, throw it in there. Paper, throw it in there. And that's the contamination that we see when we go out, when we do flipping the lids, when we go to a contractor and we look at the load that's being dumped and we see a mailbox. Why is a metal mailbox in a blue cart? Because it's metal? Okay. But, like I mentioned, it's bimetal cans, aluminum cans that you can put into that blue cart. Yes, contamination is a huge issue, and that's the reason why we as the recycling branch, part of the city and county, continue to educate people on that.
Yeah, the reason I brought you folks is because my kids educated me on something that we had an argument about pizza boxes and about the frozen boxes. People don't know that the boxes that your food that is frozen comes in is not recyclable. Neither is the envelopes with the plastic windows. Only all plain white envelope is actually recyclable. So I was just literally educated recently, and I'm like, if I never knew that, how many other people never knew that? And that's why I asked them to come, because even bottles, people don't, when you say 1 and 2, can you explain what 1 and 2 means in that? Where is that reference? How will somebody know what is 1 and 2? Because that's something.
Yeah, so your number one plastic, it's PET, polyethylene terephthalate. You would see it at the bottom of that container. It's very small though. Sometimes it's like my eyes are bad, and so I've got to look. Okay, is it a number 1 or a number 2? But in general, it's a beverage container. So your water bottle, number 1. Your Gatorade bottle, number 1. When you look at your milk gallon container, and I do have one. So in the recycling world, we call this a number 2 opaque, and it's at the bottom here, and you've got to kind of like see it, but it's right here on the side, and it's smaller than a dime, and it's embossed. But when I show people this is a number 2 plastic. Very easy to identify. Once again, something that you can drink from. What I'm seeing a lot of are these compostables. Everybody is talking about compostable packaging, compostable bags. Now we are looking into this. We do have a contractor that is looking into recycling or composting these types of materials. However, there is an issue with PFAS. PFAS is a forever chemical. It's a hazardous waste. We don't want to accept this, and then all of a sudden there's plant uptake because of the compost that's being produced, and now you have to mitigate that area. So we're being very diligent about making sure that when this type of material starts to surface and everybody sees compostable, no, not yet. Let us do some work with the Department of Health. Let us do some work with the contractor, and if everything is okay, then we'll start accepting it.
I have Johnny May Perry online. Go ahead, Johnny May.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for coming this evening. I really like the city recycling and refuge pickup in the community. Thank you for especially the glass. I buy a lot of containers in glass. Now and I've been piling it up. Now I can get rid of it in the blue bin, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
any glass bottle or jar, anything that's tempered, it's a contamination. Tempered meaning a window pane, a jealousy, mirrors, those types of things. So any glass bottle or jar.
Okay, and this is without the cap.
The cap. You can leave the cap if it's a metal cap. You can leave it on there because it's metal and it'll get recycled through the recycler. Plastic cap, that's a number 5 plastic. That's a polypropylene. A 1 or a 2, so you can throw that away into the gray trash cart.
Okay, as far as reaching out to the community educationally wise, maybe work with DMV and maybe have like a video to educate the public about the contamination, what exactly goes in the blue, what exactly go in the green, and the others. You know, like a video or a mail out, including with the DMV, because they mail out, I think, several thousand pieces of mail. So maybe can coordinate something with that, and it's a city agency. Now let's talk about food waste. I know the city is venturing into food waste. How is that gonna? What can I do about food waste? Right now, I do composting, but for others that don't have that opportunity of composting, what can others do about food waste, and how should it be packed?
So the city is launching its GROW program. GROW stands for Green Recycling Organic Waste. And we will be accepting food waste in your green cart. But that is April 1st, 2026, so it's this year. But we're piloting it first. And Nanakuli, is part of this program. And so Wai'anae isn't. But the reason for that is that we want to pilot this program, kind of figure out what are the issues with education and contamination. That way, when we do go island wide, and we will after 6 months, we'll be able to address all the concerns. And so with food waste right now, if you're not doing any type of backyard composting, if you're not doing bokashi, fermentation of food waste, you can put your fruits and vegetables in the green composting cart, but that's about it. No meats, no fats, no dairies, until April 1st, 2026, if you are in these piloted areas. So unfortunately, for the food waste that we generate, leftovers and spoiled food, things like that, that still you would bag and put it in the trash, regular trash cart.
Thank you.
Anybody else? No. Anybody else in person? There's nobody online. No. Okay. Thank you so much. And there's flyers over there if you guys want to pick up some.
Yeah, there's flyers and there's stickers that can go onto your blue cart, and then that way you can see it onto as a glass bottle or jar, so it's all on this side.
Excuse me,
Awesome.
Chair.
Thank you so much.
I had one
Appreciate it.
question, Chair.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead, Salcido.
Okay. You had mentioned PFAS or PFAS in that container you was holding earlier, but and you said it goes to the recycling and they burn it.
It goes, all of the compostables now are, if properly disposed, will end up at waste to energy. Yes.
Okay. That's kind of confusing because with that chemical inside the PFAS inside, it's cancer causing, so it goes in the air. So that's a big concern. And the community do not know that's cancer causing. So we need to educate the community about that because PFAS is a cancer causing. That's my concern. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Cross, go ahead.
Sorry, two quick questions. So the first one is when we put the cartons into the blue bin, do we need to rinse them out first?
When you say carton, what type of carton are you talking about?
Like beverage cartons.
So if it's a beverage carton and if it's fiber based, that really shouldn't be going into the blue cart. That should be going into the trash. If it's a glass bottle or jar or a plastic with some sort of liquid residue like soda or something like that, we encourage all of you to rinse it out, but sometimes it just goes in with that residue. But we encourage all of you to rinse it out.
Do you also know information about the collections, or is that not your division or department? Because then I won't ask my question.
Cross, you got to repeat because you're getting cut off bad. Bad connection.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is this better?
Yes.
Yes. Do you answer questions about collection or only about the actual products? Because then I won't ask my question if you can answer questions about collection.
I'm specific to the recycling of the commodity.
Oh,
If it
okay.
has to
No
do
problem.
with pickup, yeah. Then you can contact our division, and then we have a collection branch that will take the question.
Oh, amazing. I will do that. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. Oh, you had one, Tito. Oh, okay. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. We're moving on to DTL Amazon presentation by Jacob Aki. Aloha. We're gonna move on to Office of Hawaiian Affairs, OHA, to allow DTL to get their stuff set up. So if we have Micah Kahiva. Oh, okay. We got Summer. That works.
No, fortuitous for me. So aloha nui. I'm Summer Silva. I'm the interim chief administrator for the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Our advocacy team, we're busy at the ledge, working on our legislative package, making sure that it was moving through seamlessly and getting ready for our board committee meeting on beneficiary and engaged empowerment tomorrow morning, which is let me explain sort of like the landscape. OHA's positions on any bill measure or policy has to be board approved. So our official position, even though bills are moving in real time very quickly, because we are part of an elective body and every trustee represents a constituency on an important moku that needs to get represented and participate in the engagement. We have created a policy whereby our advocacy team works up and makes sure that the trustees are as well informed about all of the considerations that are affecting bills that impact Native Hawaiian and our important wahipana and things and interests that we care deeply about. And at the next available meeting, the board then sort of reviews and discusses and deliberates on those advocacy recommendations and either approves to move forward or to comment or to support. And we have created a cadence, a frequency of meetings to help keep up with the legislative speed. And so between now and through most of the end of the legislative session, OHA will be having a committee meeting in that BAE space once a week so that we can keep up in real time as much as possible. So what I'm authorized and excited to share with all of you is our board approved legislative package for 2026, which helps to basically steer our most critical bill measures that we think OHA should be a leading voice on. And each of these measures ties within our strategic plan, our Mana Imali Ola strength to well-being kind of vision. And the foundational principles as a baseline is anything that uplifts family, culture, and aina to include water, right? So we're tracking every bill measure that has a touch point on those really important foundational principles and that we think impact directly our Kanaka Maoli population and our Lahui. And then we also look a little further, more deeper, so we get kind of strategic on the direction on issues that affect education, health, quality housing, not just affordable housing, but quality of affordable housing, and economic stability, because in order to realize AI, we have to have a sufficient economic base and be thriving in our own community as well. So those are the 4 strategic directions. So every one of the 6 bill measures that have thus far been approved by the board, so it's not going to be the exhaustive universe of measures that this this board supports or helps to move, but it's our starting point. Touch upon those foundational and strategic principles. So the first one relates to our island burial councils. Iwi Kupuna is a mainstay in our advocacy effort. And, you know, needless to say, it's a really important interest of ours. And we feel like OHA and all of the island communities who help to steward this space deserve to have a leading voice in these issues. And so the bill, just largely speaking, island burial councils or IBCs, that's the short form acronym, protect unmarked burials that are often disturbed during construction. And these IBCs help to determine among themselves whether these burials should be preserved in place or relocated or and recognize lineal descendants. And so process is inclusive of all of the cultural stakeholders and also the community, the larger community. Unfortunately, the executive agency has a difficult time filling some of these council seats. And so in order to achieve quorum and make really important decisions around safeguarding our iwi kupuna, there's not enough people sitting or filling vacancies. OHA is proposing that that quorum number get determined by how many seats are actually filled, so that the membership can do the important hana in a timely manner, and that, you know, it hopefully incentivizes the branches that are responsible for appointing members to this board to act swiftly, but for the community not to be harmed or have, you know, delayed responsiveness because of that shortage. So that's one of the measures associated with this bill. The other one is the fact that OHA recognizes that people who are serving on this council bring subject matter expertise and volunteer and lend their ike, lend their community networks, lend their, you know, personal investment time, PR from another side, the ability to travel, important meetings. So we're proposing council members on the IBC. So this is a really important effort that we believe helps to strengthen island burial councils by authorizing stipends for geographic representative council members and reducing quorum requirements solely for the purpose of accounting for vacancies and letting these burial councils do the important hana they were constituted to do. So that's one of our first bill measures. We have 6. A second one is relating to historic preservation. And this one seeks to pretty much close a well-intentioned loophole from a 2025 Act 293 measure. SHPD, or the State Historic Preservation Division, is required to review any project that are likely to threaten burials or other historic sites or important bahipana before construction begins. And you know, they accelerated the early review process to identify early on any kind of excavation that was likely to be disruptive in these sensitive areas. We believe that an exemption was too broadly designed. So we'd like for the ledge to go back to narrow that exemption to make sure that their well-intentioned crafting of the bill doesn't create too wide a waiver for construction projects that are likely to disturb burials. So it really is a little bit of a fix, a remedy. It's not to upend the entire legislative measure that passed into it. It's to narrow an exemption or an exception in order to better safeguard sites that are likely to contain iwi kupuna. Our third bill measure relates to the Land Use Commission. We've got two important concepts that we're trying to advance. One is the fact that we think the LUC should contain or include a member who has expertise in water resource management, that you can't steward or manage Aina without having an appreciation for Vai. And so we are asking that they not only create a water resource management seat, but also empower OHA to recommend candidates for the existing Hawaii land use and cultural expertise seat. And what that means is OHA understands that we have kuleana and accountability to our Kanaka constituency and our beneficiaries. So these decisions about who gets seated in these spaces will be informed by our consultation process, and we feel more confident that those seats will be reflective of the feedback and the community input that we get in sort of our working community, our kuleana, to be accountable to community. You hold us accountable by holding our trustees accountable. And so there is a direct relationship to our ability to ensure that Native Hawaiian voices and the members that are chosen to sit in these really important spaces reflect the values of the community. So that is our third bill measure. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll speed up. Our fourth bill measure relates to commercial aquarium. We realize it's controversial, but let me first, the baseline is that we take our kuleana as Aina stewards seriously. And our Aina stewardship extends from Mauka to Makai and into the Kai. And so we believe that at this point in time, a permanent ban on commercial aquarium collection, with the exception of collections for educational purposes and subsistence fishing, should be part of the law of Hawaii. And so we are advocating for that position based on what we believe is our charge to be good stewards of Aina here in Hawaii. We are also open, though, to feedback because this is a consultative process and we represent a broad demographic, to understand better maybe some of the competing viewpoints coming from our lahui. And taking a formal position that maybe crystallizes or nuances exactly how this final language gets moved through the ledge. But at this point in time, that's our principled decision, and that's the recommendation that the Board of Trustees approved. Our fifth amendment, or our fifth bill measure, is to amend the Hawaii State Constitution to prohibit live fire military training. Yes, and I know that in this community, you folks were the leaders in ending live fire training at Makua. And we think that that model stands as a really powerful model for all of Hawaii, all of our Pai'aina. And so we have taken that particular charge in this legislative session very seriously. We'd like for that question to be presented to the public so that it becomes part of our constitution, that we don't have to go back every legislative session to fight for the protection of what are our crown and government lands in perpetuity. And so the proposed question in the bill is, shall the Constitution of the state of Hawaii be amended to provide that no destructive live fire military training shall be conducted on public trust lands as defined in Article 12, Section 4. And so we are encouraging lawmakers to consider that particular question and put that out to a vote to the public. And then our last measure that's part of our board-approved legislative package relates to rent stabilization. So, our diaspora, everybody who's moving away from Hawaii, largely is because of the housing shortage and the housing prices. And so this bill would establish a 3% cap on rent increases that are consistent with the average annual cost of living increase received by wage workers. So what we're trying to do is And then this is also important. The folks exempted from this bill would be owner occupied properties, right? So people who have a true residential footprint here and are not using these as investment properties. People who have kuleana parcels that might be affected by these rent caps, and then regulated affordable properties. So properties that the government has invested in making sure are affordable, truly affordable. And to minimize impacts and to really speak to data. So we're not trying to disrupt the housing market significantly and get all the developers really, nuha with us. We understand that there are economic considerations involved in this, but we think that a 3% cap annually with those exceptions and the fact that it's tracking what average annual cost of living increases are really data-driven, reasonable, but meaningful stance for our office to be taking to address some of the issues that are rising up and to the surface for our beneficiary community. So mahalo for allowing me to share. I'm happy to take questions. And if there are any questions that I'm unable to answer because I'm not fluent in, I also want to introduce, I have my Associate General Counsel here with me, Rosella Gog. And so she's going to make sure that I capture every question, every comment, every feedback. We will get back to the board with any responses if I can't answer them in real time here, but yes, happy to take what I can.
Okay, in person, go ahead.
Aloha, loa apine pahehe Ridge Homestead. I am a beneficiary of OHA. Thank you so much for being here right now. I know it's very, very busy, so your presence here today means a lot to me, and I think to everybody else. I have the privilege to sit down with Kale maybe about a month ago, and then with Uncle Bill Brennan a week after, and then I just saw Uncle Bill this past Friday at the Malama Makua showing at the Hawaiian Electric Building. And so, I just want to, if you can send a message back to your office for a mahalo for listening to the Wai'anae Coast community, because, up until recently, we felt there has been no OHA presence in Wai'anae. And so I think with that conversations with Kale and Uncle Bill, I'm going to hit him up this week, actually, because I've been talking to him about what does it look like as far as a podcast, for OHA. And, because only get Kawai'ola right now, you know what I mean? So what is some other communication aspects that you guys can grow in? So I just want to mahalo you guys for all that you guys doing and continue to do the hard work. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Pikachu.
Aloha, Pikachu, Shelby, Billionaire. We're live for everybody. So if you guys haven't been to the Capitol before, been through legislation, we always have issues, not because our heart, not because we don't care. It's because of lack of active participation. So my advice to OHA, my first question for the helper over there is, can you please put a list together of all the bills? Because we go by names, HB, SB, if there's a companion bill. Then hopefully everyone has a little booklet you can see on this camera here, on this little screen. Because what's going to happen next, it has to be introduced, which it was, and it'll be going to which committee? Probably Hawaiian Affairs. Is it going House or Senate? Then OHA should make a sample testimonial, like I sent one today. My name is blank. I support this bill because of X, Y, and Z. You can pre-draft this testimonial. So when some grandma kapuna, they can just put their name in the blank. Thank you very much, and we're pow. Just copy and paste. We're cheating this system. This is like old school and new school. So just copy the same person, put the examples, tell Kaikahele, make it simple, bro. Don't make it complicated from Moko Keawe to Kauai. Keep it simple, bro. Don't make it no bakayaro. And so you can put that all together, but we have to follow each committee because we're going to lose track. We're so busy working 9 to 5. Nobody has time off of work to go on Zoom at 2 o'clock or 10 o'clock to catch on. So you guys have to keep us aware of the meetings because we don't know when the hearings are going to go at. But the other people are Akamai are going to be well aware. We got Chris Moroka, Senator Court in the House, and we can figure this stuff out. And I also recommend if OHA can sponsor a luau and events with music every month, that'd be more fun when we fundraise as opposed to just complain about Capitol Hill. Thank you very much.
By the way, thank you so much. And I think there, so I know I was going to say offhand, the IB, the Island Burial Council bill is getting heard first. So that's HB 2104. HB 2104. It's also on our social media like Instagram, Facebook, but it's also being circulated via email if you're on our beneficiary email serve. And it provides sample testimony. So I don't know if you've been speaking into the ear of like comms and advocacy, but they are delivering on that particular piece. And I do want to encourage, after every committee meeting, which so like I said, the beneficiary and empowerment or engagement committee meets weekly during ledge session in order to keep up with these bill measures. And at the conclusion of every meeting, even if you didn't identify that you wanted to testify on the agenda, there is a space for community concerns and feedback. And everybody is allocated 5 minutes. And I strongly encourage that is the opportunity to really get into the ears of the trustees directly, unfiltered, and also for the administration who are in the room listening and trying to create recommendations and integrate what we're hearing from community into some of the services and programs that we are crafting for consideration. So please take advantage of that. And whether it's a compliment or a complaint or encouragement or some feedback that is worthy of an agency that is supposed to be representative or strives to be representative of the voices of a very diverse Lahui, it's welcome feedback. So mahalo.
Okay, Auntie, come.
Aloha, babe. Mahalo to Oha for coming out. Where did she go? Your partner. Oh, didn't see it. Okay, so like Brother Ed just said, send us a list. I'm going to give her my phone number so you could text it to me because I cannot keep up with email. And hopefully I can see it in time to take action. And having that template is a good basis, but also having us do our own mana'o helps it so that they know that we have an opinion. So we need to utilize our voice, our leoya. The other thing was, shoots. Anna, go ahead. Aloha lokana kili iko po. I too would like to thank you for coming down, for Chair, for giving her that extra time. It's so important to be heard. Oha and Brother, Oha has been here. They've been here, maybe not in Wai'anae, but they've been in Nanakulian twice. So I commend them. I know Kalei had a lot to do with that as well. I like what I heard tonight about the LUC, how you folks have changed that voting process. We know that a lot of times we don't have quorum to meet. So it's those that's present that makes that decision because we need to get the thing continually moving. But and what you presented tonight is just I know a little bit, but I think it's touched a lot, especially when you talk about our military access here. That's a sore part in our heart. So thank you again for taking the stand and just for continuing to hear the voices of our people. Mahalo. Thank you. Alamai, o wau ka pua kili I ko ka mai. Ka aina ho o pula pula ka awawa Wai'anae. Oh yes, so what I also wanted to do was maybe about a decade or two ago, we used to have a radio program that Oha used to fund, and it was, what's his name, Brickwood and Kimo, that used to host it on the radio every morning. If Oha could find the funds to do that, because that is what kept people informed of not only the challenges, but of the successes, because we have a lot of both. So I wanted to bring Oivi Na'olino back into the fold. Also, the IBC, great idea to go based upon the filled seats opposed to the total seats. So I hope that one goes through. The SHIP-D, yeah. Even today, there was a bill that was going through, or maybe it's tomorrow morning, about how there are legislators that want to have the ability to approve development a piecemeal at a time. Now, this is what Tita Kaonohi Kalekini had stopped the rail from, because they did not do a full land survey the way they're supposed to. Because what happens is when they do it piecemeal, like what's happened with this fail rail, is that they've spent so much money that the county had to put in more money than they said they needed, because they kept saying, we don't need the money. But again, they would come back for it, to the extent to where we had to create state taxes, to the extent where now neighbors have to pay for this. Sorry, babe, I'll try and hurry up. The other thing, talking about the amendment for the prohibit live fire, yeah. So did you folks consider submitting that for the Honolulu Charter? At least starting with the charter, and did that get accepted? Because that would have been a good place as well, but kind of think of everything all the time, right? And if you did, Maikai, and rent stabilization. Mahalo nui. So I do look forward to that list. That's it. Mahalo.
We have Johnny May online. Johnny May, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Summer, instead of waiting for invitation to go to the table, invite or self-invite themselves to the table that we need to be at. No wait for the invitation, like the military. That's one example. Yeah. So whatever is important to OHA, self-invite. Also, I have the December issue. Is that the legislation for this year as well, or that's all POW?
That was the for the legislative package that we were moving into 2026 with. That is a summary of what was ultimately approved by the board. That's our bill package, yes.
Oh, okay. Because
The
I'm
December issue.
I'm signed on to the state legislature listing is horrendous. Every day is like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm working on my legislature, reading all
Yeah.
these bills. But
No,
anyway,
I know. Thank you for the feed. By the way, I'm going to really heed the feedback that we received about turning around some like matrices or reports that help to make sensible sense of all of the bills, and add some proposed testimony for people to use as templates or to cut and paste. But yes, it's important. So mahalo.
Okay, and then one last question is your mom Marie?
Well, by the way, I heard your name and I am almost going to be in tears because yes, that is my mother. And the relationship we share is because you used to work at Strub Clinic. Yes.
Correct.
Yes. And
and you
I
went to-
used to, as a little girl, like on my sick days, sit under my mother's desk so that she could work and you worked. And it was a room full of medical transcriptionists. And my mama worked many jobs to send me to school to be all the things that I'm now. And it's a beautiful moment to see you up there because I don't know, I think I was between the age of 5 and 9, maybe at most.
I'm so proud of you. You went to Sacred Hearts. I'm so proud of you and your mom. I know how hard she worked, and when I saw your picture, I was gleaming ear to ear. How far you've come. Thank you for making us proud.
Mahalo. I'm going to give my mom your aloha, and she sends
Thank
hers.
you.
I know. Mahalo.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Johnny May. We got Francie Whitfield. Go ahead.
Just want to say thank you for being at the board meeting this evening. I want to announce that I did put in the chat the information that I got from the Makakilo board meeting last week about the military land leases information on the OHA website. It's oha.org/aloha tac aina or aloha dash aina. Some people aren't familiar with the word tac, but again, thank you for announcing the bills because I've been trying to get plugged in with what's going on since I've watched one of the November briefing that's on that webpage, and it's very informative. I highly recommend anybody to watch the briefings. Again, very informative. Thank you.
Thank you. We got Dina. Dina, go ahead.
Aloha. My question is in regards to what is OHA's plans on increasing the percentage that the state pays to OHA on an annual basis. Many of the problems that we encounter as Native people are definitely influenced by the amount of money that is paid off. The state has a history of not paying 5F revenues and then transferring land, kind of playing this business game where they increase capacity of other lands under their purview so that they don't have to pay into the 5F revenue stream that Hawaiians should be getting 20% of. And right now we're probably getting about 3 to 5%. So what is OHA's plans on trying to address this disparity?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for the question. So there is actually two measures that were introduced late last week, too late for our board to basically weigh in on. So tomorrow will be the day that the board weighs in on two bills, actually three bills, that touch upon that PLT revenue and the working group that was established in order to address all of those deficiencies. So my first point in response to your question is we're entitled to the 20%. We're not getting the 20%. It's constitutionally mandated. The courts have interpreted that the ledge has to make good on that. And the bill measures that are moving through the ledge at this point in time are striving to address that. There are two aspects of this question. It's the public land trust pro rata share question that has, I think, challenged all of the decision makers who are part of the deliberation. And one has to do with an incomplete land inventory. Okay, so it was back in 2018. So this has been a issue long standing. Back in 2018, it was estimated that it was going to cost about $15 million to complete the land inventory that would really define once and for all sort of all the lands that are part of the trust land corpus and the lands that fall outside of it so that the state and all of its agencies could figure out how much of their revenue receipts, the 20% would go to OHA. Unfortunately, that price tag and then that incompleteness has often skewed everyone's ability to be like, okay, now's the time to resolve for this issue. It sort of it's been used a little bit like a red herring instead of an informative data point. So what we decided this session is to say, you know what, we don't necessarily need at some point, we want to have a complete land inventory, but that shouldn't stall the conversation about how much you owe us, especially considering that some of the high revenue generating agencies could more than compensate us in the interim. So we are making strategic moves this session in coordination with some key lawmakers, including leadership, and we're feeling encouraged that because of the military lease conversation, because of all of the other issues afflicting our community, because of the federal grant funding decreases, that it's crystallizing how much OHA can do if it was sort of afforded all of what it is due. So we're moving in the direction of using that narrative to help move this conversation along. So that's my best response. But tomorrow we will know for sure where the board stands on these strategies.
So why wouldn't OHA pay for this inventory to be done instead of waiting for the state? Because, the state doesn't want to pay. Why
So
wouldn't we just pay for it?
It's both the price tag of the inventory and the actual completion of the inventory, which takes a number of years. It's literally requires surveying. Now we have drones, so we have technology that can help us achieve these things better, but it's historical archives, it's the merging of all those things. Your point is well taken. Like, we are committed to getting there with or without the state's funds, but we do not think that the incompletion, like the lack of completion of that piece should stop the conversation on making sure we get funded 20% of what we do know the state is collecting on our crown and government land. So we have pivoted to bring the financial conversation forward and prioritize as opposed to moving the two conversations in parallel.
And so wouldn't you say that it's a great workforce development opportunity, teaching our young people, especially Kaipuni graduates, the opportunity to learn how to do these things so that our
Yes.
trust is beneficial to beneficiaries?
Yes. By the way, you have wonderful ideas and proposals that I agree. I'm in alignment with you. So yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you for coming out. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go back to 6.2 DTL Amazon presentation by Jacob Aki.
Kalamai, we don't have the presentation. I did mail it to the board members, but we'll make sure we get it out so that those who attended tonight have a copy of the presentation. But my name is Jacob Aki. I am a consultant to DTL, and we are here on behalf of our client Amazon. As some of you know, Amazon is looking at building a fulfillment center out in the Kapolei area, right near Kapolei Commons. And the reason why we are here tonight is because we believe that even though it is not technically in this district, as residents here on the west side, you folks drive through Kapolei, you shop in Kapolei. So we feel that it's very important that you folks are engaged on what's going on and make sure that you have a voice in this process. In short, Amazon is looking to build a fulfillment center. And what a fulfillment center is it's a place where a lot of the orders that you would normally order off of Amazon are stored. And then when you place your order online, it is processed there, and then it is sent out to a distribution center where they are sent out to your home. Currently, the facility out in Sand Island is the distribution center. So what the fulfillment center is ultimately going to do is it is ultimately going to improve the delivery times for your products. I think we all remember the days of when we first started ordering on Amazon. They said, it's going to take 5 to 7 days. And then when we got Amazon Air, when we got the distribution center up, it takes now 2 to 3. This will potentially better improve that time. I think what's really exciting and is really exciting for the community here is they are looking at hiring up to 1,000 full-time jobs to run that center. That center is going to be run on a 24/7 basis where, orders are going to be filled, they're going to be prepped, and then they're going to be distributed out to the distribution center. Currently, we are in the process of going through a rezoning request. So the area where the property is zoned in the industrial area for a max height of 60 feet. Usually Amazon has many of these fulfillment centers all around the country, but because this is a smaller footprint, a little over 90 acres, they do have to go higher to fit all of the specs and all of the machines that are going to go in there. So they are requesting a height variance from 60 to about 99 feet. So they are in the process of going through that, and they are awaiting update from the city. But what this process entails is, they are engaging with the community early. They've been engaging with many stakeholders, and Detail has been responsible for that. So over the past several months, we've met with a number of different stakeholders. We met with all of the civic clubs out here on the west side. We've met with the Wai'anae Economic Development Council. We've met with the Kapolei Chamber, and we've gone and are continuing to go through this engagement process to make sure that there is open and clear communication on what's going on. And this is part of that process. So, this is my promise to you that this isn't the last you're going to hear from me. Some of you know me and have my cell phone number, so if you want to get in touch, please do. But we are committed to making sure that you folks are engaged throughout this process, because Amazon does feel, and we do feel, that this is a great economic opportunity. Amazon provides a lot of great benefits to their workers, not just high wages starting at $25 per hour, but they offer a number of different workplace advancement opportunities to complete your college degree. And one of the things that we do want to highlight is a San distribution center is actually run by a girl who was born and raised in the Nanakuli area. So it's 1,000 jobs, and what we're also working with them on and what they're really committed to is making sure that most of those jobs are filled by folks who live out on this side. It's an opportunity for folks who are living here on the coast to have good jobs, to have really competitive jobs in terms of wages, but also not having to go all the way to town. So part of our effort is to also develop these relationships, whether it's with WEDC, whether it's with the Chamber of Commerce's, to make sure that once the hiring goes through, that there's opportunities for folks here to apply for these jobs. So this is a long process. We don't expect to, if the best case does happen where they do get the zoning request change and the height variance, that it would probably happen at the end of this year or early 2027. But we will continue to come to the board to provide updates and make sure that you folks are engaged. So there's a lot that we could probably talk about, but I know time's limited. So definitely available for any questions, and then also willing to sidebar with any folks who have questions.
Go ahead. In person first. Go ahead.
Loa Pine, Business Development Program Manager for Wai'anae Economic Development Council. Love the idea. My classmate runs the company that does all the vans for Amazon. Definitely love the girl that's running it, Nanakuli girl. I think they're doing great things. My question would be, would Amazon consider maybe helping funding a project for a continuation of the rail to start from Wai'anae main bus station out to the West Oahu Community College? Because the thing is, like, last week I got stuck in traffic for 4 hours. I know they only would be going to Kapolei, but the thing is that the strategic planners behind the rail have epically failed us. And then the people that need it the most don't even have an opportunity to get out there. You get the Wai'anae C bus, you get the 93 and stuff like that. I'm a proud user of the bus, and I mahalo the bus. They've saved my life a lot of times. But what is something that we can consider? And I poked a button at the historic railroad company. They pander to tourism, and I'm not like going to the auto part of who started the plantations in Hawaii, but like it's just a representation of the issues that we have here, going back 133 years. So would Amazon be interested? Because I know Jeff Bezos donated to Rise, a community partners here to help children and families out here on the Wai'anae side. They gave them $4 million, you know what I mean? So is that something Amazon could do to help their employees eventually, if you guys do consider to hire a lot of the Wai'anae community, and part of economic development is having transportation? And so is that something you guys could consider or raise that question? That would be cool.
Yeah, I'll definitely take it to the team. I mean, I'll be honest, to extend it would probably be a multi-$100 million project, if not, billion. So I don't think that's feasible. But I think what Amazon is looking at and what they're really, honing down on is what is the traffic impact going to be. And part of the project, and we'll make sure to include it in the presentation that we send out, is that they are looking at having a parking garage to make sure that there's ample parking for their for their staff and for all of the workers there too. But the same thing we've heard is how can the site be more accessible for those using public transit. There is going to be a redevelopment of the infrastructure there. So Amazon is going to be contributing to making sure that the sidewalks are all nice, that it's ADA accessible, and making sure that the infrastructure is done there too. So I'll take it. I'll definitely take that back to the team. It doesn't hurt to ask, but I think one of the things that they are aware of is making sure that even for the workers who don't have cars, that it is accessible. Because what we don't want is something that we see at Ko'olina, where buses cannot go in and you see workers having to get off on the side of the freeway, which is not safe, right? So Amazon has been, they've been working closely to take a look at that. But yeah, we'll take that back to the team.
Auntie, go ahead.
Aloha, babe. Still Kapua. Okay, Amazon is a major billion-dollar company, right? So he didn't buy enough land, so he's requesting for a vertical extension. He's got the money. I think he should buy more land, because then there'll be a second site that can help somebody else. Because to me, it's like, why are we continuing to give exemptions to people that are getting richer and richer off of our backs. So we cannot let our legislators to continue giving exemptions, especially what's happened in Kaka'ako. Because affordability shouldn't even be used in Hawaii's vocabulary, because it doesn't exist. Not for us regular people, but when companies that are so well endowed, I don't think that we should. Although I do support and am grateful that it's closer, that, it provides employment, it will provide economic prosperity here. But our prosperity is going to be this. So instead of theirs being here, with the extension, it's going to be way up there. So we need to ensure that we all get some of that, so it comes down, so that it works for all of us. And I would have loved to see that presentation.
Yeah, I'll send it to you, Andy. Just to answer that question, so it is 30 feet. It's 30 feet in actual height. And the reason is because of the type of technology and the type of equipment that is being done. Just overall, it needs to be higher. I would push back a little bit on buying more land. Amazon is really taking a look at what is their impact going to be on it, not just the physical space, but what is the impact to their electricity use? What is the impact to their water use? I would push back a little bit and say, if they bought more land, that's more resources, more water, more energy that is being used, versus we're not asking for too much. It's not like we're going to go high. There is a view plane study that's been done to make sure that cultural sites, make sure, views, are not blocked. And actually, the nearby buildings that are being constructed in the area are actually going to be bigger than what the Amazon height is going to be. So I can take that back. But I think in terms of their benefit, obviously, people have concerns with Amazon as a corporation, and I think we all should be wary, of these folks coming in. But I think, the one thing is what Amazon has been committed to is not just in terms of what they're going to bring in terms of jobs. They have a robust community giving program, and in fact, it's our team here that has an ability to really influence on what are some of the programs that Amazon can start to invest in. What are some of the programming? How can they make their community presence? And I think one of the things that Amazon really is really good at. They are a logistics company, and they are open to looking at how they can use their infrastructure to help support, some of the community needs, whether it's using some of their equipment to do food drives, or, we're really being creative in how we can make sure that they are a good partner. And the reason why, we are coming out early, and the reason why we are wanting them to engage really at the grassroots level is to show that good faith, that yes, they are this national company, yes, they are this national corporation, but when you do business here, there needs to be a certain focus and a certain way really in which how you do that. It's engaging with community. It's making sure that they are understanding what's going on, with this process. So, and Bezos is no longer a part of the Amazon infrastructure. He sold off his shares and all that. So he's no longer, running the company. But I think there is a real dedicated group of folks who are, looking at making sure that they do this right, and for us as a company that is based here, our founder of, Detail lives right here, in the district. We're also making sure that they're going to make that we're going to do right, and that they're going to do right by the community. So definitely hear the concerns, and we'll continue to bring things back to get your guys' feedback. But really good thoughts shared. Thanks.
Thank you for sharing that there's going to be others that are already exceeding his height. So the exemption has already been given to others? Yeah. So unfortunately, in fairness, we probably need to reconsider, because that has already been broken. Thank you for that. The other thing is, when people come, they need to know what the standards are and stop asking for the exemptions. And when the various boards and commissions are speaking to these people, to include the realtors, they need to know up front what is the restrictions and the limitations of the AINA, and to stop buying the AINA and then asking for more when they're making so much more. Mahalo.
Okay, we're gonna do James in person, 2 online, and then we gotta move on. Go ahead.
Thank you. Dear Sand Island facility, I had a hand in building that facility. It's huge. My concern is the one out here in Campbell is a height restriction. You said 99 feet. My concern will be the flight patterns of the aircraft, because there's a lot of air traffic going over that area. It depends on which way the wind is blowing. My concern would be the flight patterns. Would they be changed, or how would that affect the flight patterns if you know that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So that work has been taken a look at, and it's been determined that with the with the proposed 99 foot height limit, that there wouldn't be any impact to the flight patterns. But not just the flight patterns, but I think the view planes were something that we also took a look at, and that Amazon was very cognizant of making sure that for the nearby businesses that we weren't blocking any, critical views and that sort of thing too. So, and that's a really good question that you brought up because, and it was something that has come up with some other of the stakeholder meetings that we've had.
Pikachu.
All right, Pikachu Shelby, I'll just be straight up with you. I don't trust Jeff Bezos. He spent $75 million to make the Melania Flores documentary with the Epstein files on
You're
it.
not running the company.
I
he
know. I just heard
stated.
that right now, but everyone else didn't know because I don't know who's running the company. Now you make a processor. I used to live in New York City. They promised them the same dang kukai. Give you good jobs, good wages. What they do, cut them down. AI robotics. This is 2011. I used to live in New York. We're in 2026. I don't think you guys are going to keep that $25 promise an hour. I think you're going to lie and hustle us and process us like China. One's distributing, one the processing. You're afraid we're going to raid it like barbarians and take all your stuff because we're paying shipping and handling. So I'm not sure. It sounds like a good thing, but I feel like we're going to get hustled. Can you please explain? Because I know you're on that back end to the rest of the community. Thank you.
Maybe just to briefly address that. No, I mean Amazon really is really committed to making sure that they are going to provide really good quality jobs. I think for those of you that know people that work at the San Island facility, it's been actually something very positive, whether they are working there in the warehouse or even if there's some of the W9 drivers. I think there's an opportunity, and I would say that a lot of us in this room do order off of Amazon. So just making sure that these sorts of things are available. I think the other thing is, Amazon is also has a really good program on how they work with the local community to, really support these up and coming businesses to potentially have the capacity to sell on Amazon, right? So some of these incubator programs are things that we're looking at. WEDC, I think, would be definitely a really good partner, Kapolei Chamber of Commerce too. So I mean, these are conversations that we're having, but recognizing the the overall concern. But I think what they've shown so far here in the state that they've been a decent partner.
Okay, we have Johnny May online. Johnny May.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, Jacob, I want to make it clear, Wai'anae is in District 1. So we're part of your Campbell, okay? We're District 1. I've seen your presentation at the Makakilo board. What you did not tell us tonight, there is robotics involved in this operation. So just be mindful about recycling, be mindful about being energy efficient. If the vehicle is gonna be powered by electricity. But I did listen to your presentation at the Makakilo board and what you failed to tell us about robotics in operation. And we are part of your district in your business. Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah, and I mean, so I might have, and if I didn't mention it, yes, so there will be robotics. I think the cool thing is that those are technology that actually require certain skill sets. So the people who are going to be doing these jobs, will be paid higher because of the type of skills. And Amazon, as as I mentioned, has a really good workforce development training program. So they'll do the training to make sure that people know how to operate these things. And I think the important thing is, I know robotics, AI, those are things that I think we are still getting used to. But these are technologies that offer really good paying jobs. They are technology that does help. So I think we'll continue to provide some more information on that, and we'll make sure we can point you to links so that you can actually see what some of these other fulfillment centers look like. Because I mean, I've seen some of it myself, and it's pretty cool in my opinion. So
Awesome. Thank you so much. We got to move on because it's 8:24 and we still get all the ledge got to do there. So you can email me and I'll send it to him. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for your
and
time.
we'll definitely come back. So Chair, I'll work with you, and if we come back on a quarterly basis, we can make that commitment to come back and make sure that there's any updates, we'll get it to you folks. Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate that a lot. Okay, we're moving on to community concerns. Please limit your question to 2 minutes. because time is of essence right now. So come to the mic. Come to the mic. Just cause fair to everybody who, yeah.
Aloha, Wai'anae Neighborhood Board Chair and members. My name is Glenn Keela. Growing up in Wai'anae, our community could access to Kania Key to worship and learn. Since the 1980s, access has been unfortunately obstructed. We have filed a lawsuit in federal court to open access to our community to worship and learn at Kaniaki again. Kaniaki is one of Hawaii's largest Waihipana sacred sites, which is behind Mauna Ulu Estates. If you'd like to support restoring access to Kaniaki, please sign our petition and learn more at waianae.io, which stands for EO. If you would like to meet with us to learn more, please contact us at waianae.io. Mahalo. So this is just an announcement. So if you have any questions, you can go to waianae.io. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Aloha, aloha, Pine, Pahe'ehe, Homestead Road. My concern is, for the legacy organizations, and I call them legacy organizations because I grew up with them, knowing them from 5 years old. You got Ka'ala Farms, you got Ho'omau Keola, you got Malama Makua, you have HCAP, you have the Wai'anae Coast Comprehensive as nonprofits, right? And, I've learned a lot about the people that are on the boards. They've used their power and capacities to funnel money into their own pockets. And so my question to the board is, how do we hold, just as much as we hold OHA accountable as for the trustees, how do we hold Wai'anae Coast legacy organizations accountable? Because, one of the uncles, I was at a board meeting 2 weeks ago, and he's telling me that, you mentioning the same issues that we know about already. I was like, Uncle, how long you been on the board? Like some 30 years. I was like, nothing has changed. So what is going on? You keep on hearing the same problems. That mean you contributed to the problems. So my question is, how do we as a community get buy-in from the presidents of these boards so that we can hold them accountable, because they affect us as a community? The other concern is I am now one of the youngest in this room, and I don't see anybody younger than him. So where are the keiki, right? They don't have a voice at this table and all the meetings I go to on the Wai'anae Coast. So a lot of the decisions of these boards that are making decisions affect us, and they don't even have a say. So that's why I'm saying is, how do we hold them accountable? Because a lot of them are in their sunset years trying to pad their retirements, and then off they go, and then we're left with a pilikia. So how can we hold these boards accountable, come together and work together?
Aloha, Carlo Tanwakio. Just wanted to say thanks to DPP and their investigation team who took action against illegal construction by Makaha Development, AKA KH Group. There have been notices of violations issued, and so the construction has stopped. However, my main concern is related to water. In their application, KH Group or Makaha Development's application, they had submitted a plan for 104 resort style homes. And in that plan, they said that the water infrastructure could handle that. I live in Mauna Ulu Estates, and we have water pressure issues every day. So if I live in Mauna Ulu Estates, I can only imagine what some of the water pressure issues are and water main breaks that have been happening throughout Makaha Valley and why. So I would hope that there would be an opportunity to take a look at that permit application again and see if Board of Water Supply or Environmental Services can take a look at why they think that a 104 new resort style development can handle, or the water infrastructure can handle that when we have water mains breaking on a regular basis. Thank you.
Hello, Pikachu be billionaire for all of you guys. My community concern is that we're dealing with federal election fraud. You're going to witness it tomorrow, 10 o'clock, live at the Office of Elections. I barely see any of you there. There's about 184 people that actually testify. Maybe they appear, but there's a 1 million population in Honolulu. This is going back to my earlier point of lack of participation. When I was at City Council earlier this week for the first opening for Andrew Topola, they only had 20 people in the room. I got more views on my Facebook live stream than I have in physical testimonies. We got massive complaints all in this room, but they don't freaking show up. We got our reps right here, and they're doing good stuff. Chris Moroka, our rep, wrote HB 43 to combat human trafficking and drug smuggling. This is our second year, not the first year. He believed in it. And now when you actually go to the state legislature website and you Google, you search how many human trafficking bills there are. How many would you think compared to cannabis? Cannabis, you wouldn't think there's so much. Wrong. There's only 4 human trafficking bills and like 30 cannabis bills, 30 film bills. That means the people in Hawaii care more about cannabis and other things than about human trafficking and drug smuggling. Now, my time is short here. I'm still the chairman of the Ohana Unity Party. We need 861 real registered state voters, not Hawaiian Kingdom people, because they don't qualify. Now, I'm not even a real party because can't even get on the political playoffs. Aloha Aina, we're in the same boat. We have until February 19th. If we can't organize even 861 people, we're back in the same two-party system, stuck forever. We're trying to organize in Wai'anae, but it always seems tough. And I feel like it's done on purpose. So my community concern is how are we going to do it with or without politics? We can figure out our own way. West Side, baby. Chee-hoo, yeah, you.
Anybody else in person? Okay. Then we'll go online.
Aloha, still kapua. Jacob. Babe, so geez, I forgot what I had it. But it was on one of the last things. Oh, regarding Amazon helping local community. And it was mentioned that you folks or they helped who's that? Rise?
Well, the Jeff Bezos, it's just I made the correlation from Amazon Jeff Bezos because out of his foundation and his wife's foundation, they gave.
Okay, well, thank you for that clarification. And so that's a good thing. But really helping locally is helping Ka'ala Farms, is helping Ka'ahumana, is helping our high school projects. Yeah, so hopefully they've applied and they receive it because we're from inside, right? We're homegrown here. So Rise does some good stuff, but they weren't welcomed because they didn't come in the right way. So there's a difference between that. So when we support other people or outside entities coming in, it would be best if they addressed us before they come in so that we can identify our challenges so that we can rectify it before they're here. Mahalo.
Thank you. Online, we got Johnny May. Go ahead, Johnny May.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to say no to LNG in number 24, no to rail in number 24, no to landfill in number 24, no to geothermal in number 24. That means that this neighborhood board district, the HHL has been under scrutiny about their money. I think every elected official, their taxes needs to be exempt. Be examined when they're elected and examined when they leave to see if there's anything, something inconsistent. If we're talking about the $35,000 that supposedly was mishandled, I think we need to hold all our elected officials to see if they are following the laws and not playing undercover things. Also, I think DHHL, I had a whole bunch of legislation bills going into this session on housing, and I had a quick education about it. And I just think that DHHL beneficiaries are being deceived because you have two state agencies that deals with housing, but are not being operated the same way. So that's a real concern, and it slows down the building of DHHL homes for beneficiaries. Thank you, Chair, for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Francie Whitfield, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Again, um, my name is Francie Whitfield. I am the new community co-chair for the Pearl Harbor Hickam Kalailua Restoration Advisory Board. One of my duties as the community co-chair is to assist with recruiting for the RAB. Our new charter allows for up to 20 RAB members, and you don't have to be a resident of the area. If you have business or work or do something in the area of the Pearl Harbor, Hickam, or Kalailua area, you can apply to become a RAB member and get involved. The two restoration advisory boards that are dormant that I want to assist with getting those revived is the Lualua Lei and also the Central Restoration Advisory Board. And I believe Lualua Lei is in your neighborhood. So definitely, if you are interested in applying, our website is redhillern.com. That's Redhill, ERN as in Environmental Restoration Navy. And if you go to the Community Involvement tab, there's information on how to apply, information about RABs in general, and the Pearl Harbor Hickam Kalailua RABs meeting information as well. Any questions? I did put my information in the chat. My phone number is 808-221-4933. I can be emailed at flow828@gmail.com. I put it earlier in the chat when Major Wolf was still online. Thank you.
Thank you. Salcido online, go ahead. You guys will be the last one.
Right. Well, my concern is, there's a lot of things happening on the west side, even on the Cooley side. So we got to remember we all the 96792, and there's not very much communication with the nonprofit organizations that's operating out here. They got to be more understanding. We're not shooting each other in the foot. We just want answers. Communication is very important. And a lot of the community is not receiving, they're not running nonprofit organization. So they need to learn to communicate. And they wonder why people get upset because they're telling us what they want. They're telling the community what they want, but they do not come out to communicate. And when they do, someone will just use the nonprofit organization as the voice for the whole community. Ole, it don't go that way. We have our own voice. And if your nonprofit organization is that important, then hold a committee meeting. Be transparency, open on hall, and open it to everyone so they can hear and come there and share. They want to know what they think about it, how they feel about it. Do not allow these nonprofit organizations coming in, stacking themselves in our community and telling us, oh, we already did this. We've been through this. We have every right to know what's going on because it's going to affect our side. And gentrification has been a problem for years. So we need to be mindful on both sides with the residents, the community, and also nonprofit organizations need to be mindful too. It's a kuka thing. Don't tell us something you think we want to hear. Be truthful. That's all I have to say. Mahalo.
Thank you, Auntie Clay. Okay, so we're done with community concerns. We're going to move on to elected officials. Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative, Donna Puna. Okay, we're going to move on to Council Member District 1, Tupola's office.
Hi, aloha,
Andrea
Chair.
Tupola.
I'm online. Thank you very much. I just wanted to mahalo Amber, Jacob, and Micah for their presentations tonight and the community for being out. So we did distribute the R3 flyer. It's going to be starting next week, Monday and Wednesday at Paradise Chapel from 5 to 6. This Saturday, I'm working with Representative Muraoka on the cleanup at Lahi Lahi. There's still time if you want to join in. And then for the District 1 projects that are related to transportation, there is complete street money that is being prioritized for walkway improvements on Plantation Road, Mill Street, MacArthur Street, Lualuale Homestead Road. There is also transportation engineering money that is being set aside for speed tables on Wai'anae Valley Road, Lahaina Street, Plantation Road, and that's in the QE being sent over to HDOT for implementation. DTS has also started a design for traffic engineering devices, phase 4B, and they will be installing curb extensions, 2 raised crosswalks, signing and stripping along Lualuale Homestead Road between Ihuku Street and Kavili Street. And that's expected to be completed in spring 2026. And I will be having a town hall with Representative Kila in August. I know that's far away, but we're going to go through all the specifics of transportation improvements for the coast. So he's the transportation chair in the House, and then I will bring the city updates. Last, I did introduce a resolution to start a ending landfill task force, and that should be heard on March 4th. So as soon as it's actually agendized, I will send it over to the board. I'm hoping that people can come in and testify. And prior to the March 4th hearing, we will also be introducing a package of incentive for the community, since the mayor's administration has announced that they are trying to extend the life of the landfill. All of that to be said, I will keep the board in the loop, because as soon as that gets a hearing, I think we all got to be out there. We definitely need this to end. We are definitely against any extensions, but I think the only way that we can get there, because of all the laws that have been passed that have limited where we put the landfill, is that we have to move towards allocating funds to end it. So with that being said, I still have some committee meetings this week if people want to attend. We have our transportation hearing tomorrow, zoning hearing on Thursday, and then public safety on Thursday as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Anyone in person has any questions? Nope. Online, we have Johnny May. Johnny May, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Council Member, for the wonderful report on transportation. And on that note, can you follow up with DTS about installing the new sign at the school zones, the 20 mile per hour?
Oh,
if they could accelerate that project in 96792. Thank you for the senior program that their fees have been waived. And thank you for, and I hope you support the remedial driving written tests to inform drivers of all what they're not doing safely on the road. Hopper Pagan also said we need more tow wagons island-wide to assist when there is traffic accidents. On that note, mahalo, mahalo, mahalo.
thank you, Johnny May. Chair, I'll just respond quick. All of our schools have been prioritized for phase 1 of changing out the school signage, so it will not say 25 miles an hour, it will now say 20. So they're doing it in 3 phases, but luckily all the West Side schools are in phase 1, so thank you for bringing that up. Secondly, within a few weeks, I will be introducing a resolution to audit the whole tow contract. Corporal Pagan is right. The tow contract in the city is kind of a mess in between the HPD ones and the derelict ones. So I'll send that over to you, Johnny May, once we list it, because it's something important for us, because without the clarification of how the toll contract is being administered, it just keeps getting worse. And yes, I do support the improvements at the DMV. Thank you, Chair.
Go ahead, in person.
Lower Apine, Pahe'ehe'e Ridge, Homestead. My question to Paula is, how can I help restore all the Ahupua'a signs on the West Coast? Because some of them are fading out, some of them, cannot see really. So how can I help?
Is that the ones that are brown?
Yes.
That have the name?
Aye.
Okay, I actually know who implemented them. It was a Boy Scout actually. So let me get the design from them, and then maybe if you can get your information to Kika, we can get the same design so that it looks congruent with all the rest of the signs on the island, and then we can get those replaced.
Mahalo.
We have Dana online. Dana, go ahead.
Aloha, Councilwoman. I just wanted to the influence of these landfills on our coast is great in terms of life expectancy. Recently, there was a study that was done that suggests that individuals living near the landfills have a 10-year less decrease in life expectancy. And to me, that feels like there is a definite need to have a conversation of why we continue to carry this harmful impact in our community. Like, as a community, we have consistently said, no more, no more, but we still, these places exist in our community. In fact, new mountains have been formed in our community and people are dying. So at what point does the city say, like, the Wai'anae community has suffered enough? And if we haven't suffered enough, what is your plan as the councilwoman to ensure that the landfill provides some sort of positive impact to our community?
Thank you so much, board member. Yes, I do think that the current plan that the city proposed the 2 times. So I think the first one was Wahiwa, and then after that they were trying to propose Waipio Peninsula, which was Navy land, and they said no. All of these plans don't work because there is not enough coordination on the federal and state side. So with the task force that I'm creating to end landfills, I'm hoping that we can curb that without the state undermining our efforts or the federal government opposing it. If everyone's at the table, we all agree that this is the path forward. Instead of putting money towards siting a new landfill, we're going to put money towards technology that will end it. Currently, right now, there are only 3 things we put in the landfill: ash, ASR, and sludge. And each of these things could actually be created into byproduct if we invested in it. So we're going to be studying that. Secondly, the bill that I'll be introducing is going to suggest a community benefit, not just for people around the Waimanalo Gulch, previous landfill that was in Wai'anae, where the convenience center is, and where it was previously in Kailua. So look out for those 2 things, because I do think that the resolution for the task force and the bill are exactly what we've been looking for, and we need these to be passed because I think both of your concerns are very valid, but no one's really charted a path forward that would end it, because no one wants to have the landfill in their backyard. And the city's been promising since 1990 that they would end it, and here we are. So we have to take a different route. And I do think that the way that technology is right now, and I've visited various countries that have stopped landfilling, that it's possible.
Thank you.
And you can come to the mic.
Councilwoman Tupola, mahalo, doing great work, babe. I just wanted to clarify that to my knowledge, in Wai'anae, Moku, the Wai'anae Hawaiian Civic Club was instrumental in getting those signs up. And it may have been in collaboration with the Boy Scouts, but if not for the clubs, it wouldn't be out here. I went to the first one that they placed. This is not the Hawaiian name, but outside Black Rock.
Yeah.
And Auntie Gigi Cavello spearheaded that. So just as added information, which it could be the Boy Scouts too, but let us not forget on our coast in the Wai'anae Moku.
Mahalo, Auntie. I'll reach out to everyone because I want to make sure that we do it correctly. Mahalo.
Okay, we have Salcido online. Go ahead.
Aloha, Councilwoman. You was mentioning about the pound master, yeah? So I don't know how that is going, but this is a big concern because the city parks, it is concerning city parks. You know, when HPD have to respond to a call, whether it's a loose dog, a pit bull, and something like that, it's taking a police officer away from that, you know, to be on call. And that's a big concern because you got too much loose dogs on our park, and that's been an issue for years. You know, and at cows, that's been an issue for years. And you know, when the dogs release themselves both ways, you know, you get people walking down the park, they're sliding on that waste. You know, that's a big concern. And I don't think it's right that we put in a lot of this pressure to solve issues on HPD. Something needs to be done because you got Humane Society, you got a lot of nonprofit organization, dog, you know, outlets. You folks gotta learn to balance things. HPD, do they respond to a dog that's on a park attacking somebody? Do they respond to someone that's walking with a you know, with a knife on the road, or do they respond on a domestic call? That's a lot that HPD has to hold. You know, we cannot be putting everything on them, and then our community is targeting them, saying that, oh, we waited, or no response at all. You know, it's not their fault. It's the city not organizing themselves. You have to turn around, give some and take some. But I don't think it should be HPD's responsibility when you have Humane Society, which are dangerous dogs that attacked somebody, and the Humane Society did not want to take the dogs. HPD had no choice but to return the dogs that attack a human being back to the owner. That is not right.
Auntie
HPD is
Calais,
full with
sorry,
a
your
lot of
time is up.
responsibility. You know, they're full with a lot of responsibility. So what are you as a councilwoman can do to at least that they prioritize more to the community, you know, instead of responding just to nuisance calls of a dog or something like that, you know, pound master, haven't heard anything done. That's my concern.
Thank you, Auntie. You're 100% correct. HPD can't do everything. I will say that the Humane Society contract is for dogs, cats, chickens. So anything dogs, cats, chickens is Humane Society. However, we did have a meeting with CSD, them, and with Aloha Animal Outreach, which is led by Charlotte Naone, because she's been doing a lot of free work in the community. My concern that I posed to CSD, which they're rewriting the Humane Society contract, is that Humane Society can't do it all. They don't have enough people. They can't be at all the places. So I suggested that they subcontract nonprofits like Aloha Animal Outreach, Aloha Affordable Vet, to nonprofits that we work with that have more people that are boots on the ground. So I will double check with them on what the rewrite of the contract looks like, because I wanted them to write in there that if they needed help from other organizations, that they should seek that help and that those organizations should get reimbursed through the city contract. Secondly, the pound master is only for sheep, cattle, cows, and goats. So that one is moving along, but we have not hired a contractor yet. It was cut into budget. They put out an RFP. The only people that bid on it, I believe, was the Ranching Cattle Association, but we had to come back with a different price on what we're going to do per animal. So that one should come up again when we hit budget this year in June. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. Okay. We have further questions. Thank you, Councilwoman, for your time. Appreciate it.
Mahalo.
Now we're going to Governor Green's representative, Diamond.
Yes, good evening. Aloha Chair, Board, and community members. Diamond Badajos, Public Information Officer with the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, here for Governor Josh Green. I believe all community concerns have been followed up on since this past month. So if there is anything new that you'd like me to bring back to the administration, I'm definitely happy to take those now.
Come to the mic, Auntie.
Aloha, Diamond.
Hi,
is,
Aloha.
Is the department still doing their own DPP process?
Yes, and speaking with our permitting guy, I believe he said that we had a few up and running, but I can get more clarification on that for you.
Okay, because I've asked Dawn of DPP what has been the caseload that DHHL has relieved the city of. And to her knowledge, and I think this was either last month or the month before, she had 0 that she was aware of. But I'm hoping, since we do have that DPP authority, that we do it. And I imagine that Director Watson had requested that because that would facilitate and expedite all of the development that he's got planned and mostly funded. So I'm just curious about that. If you could give me some stats from the department, that would be great. I'm also hoping that our DPP in the department can expedite the approval of rooftop solar. You know, if you folks are going to be doing that, and if you folks are doing any expediting, because the department does have a record of slowing down the process.
That I haven't heard, but we'll certainly check. So rooftop solar projects, correct?
Yes, of the past, to find out how long it takes you folks to do it within the last 5 years. What is the average time frame to process, and how many the department has processed, if any, which I think would be 0. Oh no, it's on the reports, photovoltaic approved. So if you could compile that report, and then if our own DPP is doing it currently, or if they plan on doing it. Mahalo, babe.
Understood. Thank you.
Hello, Diamond.
Aloha.
From Wai'anae. My question is, how does the governor's office feel about economics in Wai'anae, and not just only about fiat currency creating jobs, but also bringing a spotlight to budding businesses on the Wai'anae coast?
I will bring that back to his office for sure and report back as well. Thank you for that.
Mahalo.
Go ahead.
Aloha, Diamond Pikachu, Shelby Billionaire. Do you currently have the OHA current seeded revenue? What is the currently seeded revenue? Because if OHA is supposed to get 20%, their budget was about 66 million last year when I looked at the report. Do you know what it currently is? So, because I'm Asian, I can do the math. Do you know what the seeded revenue inventory is?
I apologize. I don't have that number.
Can you look up for us, please, and report back? Thank you.
Mahalo.
Okay, online we have Johnny May. Johnny May, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. So, Chair, I have governor question. I have DHHL. Can I do both, or do one and then wait for the next one?
Can you do both so she can answer one time?
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you for attending tonight. So the first one for the governor, the military settlement, a big chunk of that should go to the HHL to build homes, rather than military housing. There was military housing, but they privatized it. Let's see. Also, you know, Senate Bill 2702, I read, okay, this is the HHL question. I read limited availability of developable land and the high cost of complexity of land acquisition. Senate Bill 2676, 50,000 homes will be needed in the next 5 years to address the state housing crisis. Now, are these number part of the HHL wait list, or this is just for Hawaii Housing Finance Development Corporation? And it sounds like in 2702 that the HHL doesn't have enough land for the 29,000 on the wait list, and yet they're issuing leases and no more land to build, because they're asking for city land to be the first one to get the city lands when they have lands available. So it seems that the HHL are deceiving the beneficiaries. Is there land for 29,000 people, or is there not? Is this count part of the HHL numbers that have been given to Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation and no geothermal project on DHH land. That's a um, state mission to lower renewable energy. It shouldn't be put on beneficiaries' back. Thank you.
Mahalo, noted. Thank you.
Okay, last one we have Dina. Dina, go ahead.
Aloha, Diamond. My question is in regards to DHHL had a RFP process. Do you know how many organizations applied for possible grant and aid?
Ooh, no, I do not have this number, but I was recently chimed in on a conversation that I'll need to double check on. So I can get that to you, Dana.
Yeah, because this year there was $10 million that could be utilized for upgrades to our beneficiary communities, and I'm hoping that everyone has applied for them, and that all that money will be used to benefit Hawaiian homesteads. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Diamond. Appreciate you and your time.
Yep.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Now we have Senator Samantha D. Court.
Aloha, Chair, board members, Samantha D. Court. I just wanted to tap in a little bit to what OHA had shared with regards to its land ownership. I do also want to bring to the attention what I believe is an injustice with the Ali'i land trusts that are also being sold. We have Kamehameha Schools that just sold property under the Royal Hawaiian for $500 million. We have Ali'i Trust land being sold. I mean, this stuff is happening over and over again. So I just want to bring that to our attention to make sure that we also voice our stand that Ali'i Trust should not be sold to developers. It should not be sold to be profited. So I did want to make that point as well. So we're in full-blown session right now. So we're in bill mode. The carryover question from last month was my website. We're still working on that. So I believe we might be able to get that out next week. Hopefully, I don't know. Okay, well, we're doing our best. So some technical difficulties, but I'll just go ahead and open it up for questions for sake of time.
Okay, in person, anybody get question? Come to the mic.
I want to thank the senator publicly for being so responsive. There is a bill that I texted her and called her on last night because it just came to my attention yesterday, and that we needed to stop it. I opposed it big time, and that I would be at the legislature or online to oppose it. And fortunately, it was, I guess, so overwhelmingly opposed that they rescheduled it. So hopefully they would just table it. And it was related to housing, leasing or selling seized, SEIZED lands or rent to own, giving a 99-year lease. And this, I imagine, would probably be to the developers. I've got big issues with that. And it went from a 5-year, you have to keep it, to a 10-year. And that is crazy. Anything like that, it should be 50, 100 years, as long as that lease is there. You know, so we need to really be maka'ala. And that email that it came from, it wasn't even on my contacts. But it did say, because I do these things, that it threw me on their list. And that's, you know, what got me. So I want to thank our legislators when they respond to us in such a manner like that. And since it was a Senate bill, you didn't get the call yet, but she responded, and I just want to thank her. And I did ask her if she got other calls, and she did have quite a few. So it wasn't just mine, but that responsiveness that our legislators have to us, is awesome. We don't always win, and sometimes they might disagree, and that's their prerogative. But you will fight us. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Just wanted to respond really quickly. Yeah, I think that my stand has been consistent with ensuring that DHHL lands is used primarily for its sole purpose, which is ownership. Well, according to the Federal Act of 1920. But I continue to stand on that decision of DHHL land being used for Hawaiians to live and own on the land. Anything other than that is a thumbs down for me. So thank you for that. And I'll continue to keep our community looped in with those issues that come up on Hawaiian affairs. So thank you.
Go ahead, Pikachu.
All right, Senator Court, aloha. Thank you for coming. Pikachu Shelby Billionaire. So hopefully we'll go viral again this year for passing some awesome bills. But I do have a suggestion. You know, since you're very active on social media, just like Andrea and Chris too, could you put on your social media or your website the bills you want the community to support? I'm going to do the same thing for Chris. And if you guys put a template to make it easier for the kapuna, people 40 and older are probably on Facebook, 40 and younger, they're on IG. But it's easier to copy and paste on Facebook. You know, my name is blank. We support your bill because of this. And it'll be a lot easier to get us to the numbers, you know, at least to help support. So hopefully we can push some legislation this year. Thank you very much.
Johnny May. Okay, Johnny May, go ahead. Johnny May online.
Thank you, Chair. Senator, I hope you listened in on my concerns. Also, Senate Bill 2785, no to item 46. This is regarding geothermal project for DHHL. That was a state initiative. It should not be put on beneficiaries' back. Senate Bill, like you, I'm overwhelmed by reading the bills, especially on housing. Holy moly. But anyway, Senate Bill 2702, limited availability of developer land and high cost of complexity of land acquisition. Senate Bill 2676, 50,000 homes will be needed in the next 5 years to address the state housing shortage. I'm not sure if the HHL number is in that, and this is in reference to Hawaii Housing Finance Development Corporation. It seems that that's a state agency. The HHL is a state agency, but they're not treated the same as far as housing development. To my understanding, the reason why the HHL is part of the federal is because of the overthrow. But as far as affordable housing, that mechanism should not be treated differently. It should be inclusive. Whatever they're doing for Hawaii Housing Finance, they should do for DHHL. I would like for you to do an audit on DHHL lands, because this statement on Senate Bill 2702 is telling me we do not have enough land to put 29,000 beneficiaries on. Thank you. I get so excited.
Thank you. Wow, I know. So I did want to mention that I do currently have 4 DHHL audit bills out there because, I mean, we're just going to need answers to, first of all, my first DHHL audit is Act 279, which DHHL got $600 million to build homes for Hawaiians. And what do Hawaiians get in return? A $700,000 house. So we're just going to need a breakdown of how that money is being spent. Where is it going to? They've exhausted all of those funds. And so we have that for DHHL audit. We have paper leases for to be audited. We have the mercantilism to be audited. DHHL currently is leasing commercial property to shopping centers and malls and not even charging them market rent. And so that is money that can go back to the trust, and that's not fair that the shopping centers are getting cheap rent and they're racking up I mean, they're not even giving beneficiaries a discount on that rent. So there's that. And then also just a general audit just a general audit. So I'll get back to you on that. And Chair, if you don't mind, I want to make sure to give time to Representative Muraoka. So I'll continue to respond to my questions, maybe offline.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that because it's already 9:09. Thank you. So next is State Rep Muraoka.
So sorry, Chair, so I couldn't ask my question then.
Sorry, we need to move on. We have a lot more on the agenda, and so we got to move
Okay,
forward. Can you
so
email
do,
that to her? You can email as a chair on the
I,
board. You can email our rep,
yeah, it just, you
our
know,
senator.
okay.
Good evening. Hi, good evening, everybody. Sorry, a little bit tired, and I apologize for showing up late. Breaks my heart to see this table empty. Man, when we get elected from position, at the very least, we expect to show up. But anyways, Pikachu, a very good point. All of our bills are on our Instagram and Facebook. Every bill we introduced, it is there. So I also brought handouts for all the bills that we did introduce. And I have any questions on the bills? Not very much going on, as our senator said. Legislative has kicked off, session has kicked off this week. We're having our hearings and our committees, and so we're just back to absolute craziness, busyness. But nevertheless, the job got to get done. Loa, love to hear your concerns. Love to hear now. Now you're officially the youngest. Jacob left. But Loa, I stand here and I see the eagerness, and I want to invite you. I want to make sure you understand, as well as everybody else do. I do once a month talk stories. I want everybody to come. There's a reason I don't do Zoom, and I told Pikachu he won't be broadcasting anymore because I want people in person. It means more when you can see the person's body language along with their concerns. Yes, yes, you are. See, and we're always accessible. And to Auntie Kapua and everybody else who has reached out, my office has a 100% response. Absolute. You may not like the response you get, but you're gonna get a response. And it's just that bad. So to this gentleman over here talking about the 104 luxury homes, absolutely. These are the things I need to come into my office, because then you would find out that we're already putting measures in place to fight that. We're already putting measures in place to stop that production or that operation. And it's based on, right now, our biggest thing is water. We had our talk story last year. Our very first talk story was Board of Water Supply. And they explained that we only have 17 years left of water in Wai'anae. That's big. That is big. I actually have a resolution, coastline infrastructure capacity. That's a bill that I actually introduced to combat large scale development out here. Because not only is it our sewer system, our roads cannot handle. Very shortly, I don't know how nobody brings it up. I continue to bring it up. I talk, Ed Sniffin at DOT. We're all looking at the lot of problems. One thing we're not seeing, and I don't hear of, and I started voicing, and I'm going to continue making it louder, is imminent danger that's right in front of us. As we're driving out of Nanakuli, one of the biggest things everybody knows is one way in, one way out. As we drive out of Nanakuli, just before Hakima Road, coming around, those two bays. I'm 48, 2 years older than you, 2 years. Yeah, I'm 48, and I can tell you, and especially Auntie Kapua and the guys older than us, and he came over there. Years ago, you could drive down by those bays and fish. Now those things is getting closer and closer and closer to the highway. That is an emergency that we need to start planning for now. I just bring that up to kind of put that on everybody's back burner, that we need to look at all of those things. The signs and stuff like that. Work with the council member. She is. We working with council member's office, really good ideas. My former office worker, Philip Ganaban, former board of the chair. We working on a big thing coming up very shortly for 442 here in Wai'anae. A lot of good stuff. The stories I have, I tell everybody, come out, bring your opinions, bring your manao, bring your ideas. Just bring your crybaby attitudes. Because Wai'anae, we get in our own way. The only way everybody gonna take us serious if we come with one united voice. At the end of the day, if you say something, she says something, he says something, and Pikachu always says something, they don't know who to listen to. Start pitting ourselves against each other. Again, I'm going to end my speech the way I always do. If we focus on the goal instead of who gets credit for it, we can get more done.
Okay, any in-person question?
Mahalo for your openness, Mora Oka. So what I would like to see, like we've been talking about, because we can't keep up with, but those that you support and those that you oppose. That way your one voice is multiplied by many. Mahalo.
So with that, I support and I oppose a lot. So I'll give you guys the exact operation in my office. My office manager is sitting back there. My ledge aide is Callista Mitchell. And Callista is instructed by me. Callista is younger than you, by the way. So Callista is instructed by me on every single bill that comes across my desk, 4 questions in this order. How does it affect District 45? If it doesn't, how does it affect 96792? If it doesn't, how does it affect Oahu? And then finally, how does it affect the state? That is how I approach all the bills. I ran for District 45, Wai'anae and Makaha. I do not care what happens in Pro City, Ainahaina, Maui, Kauai, or the Big Island. Because if I cannot fix this community, I'm useless out there. So my complete focus is right here in District 49. And together with Darius, we have a really good team, and our senator and our council member. We have a really, really good West Side team that focuses on 96792.
Thank you. Come to the mic.
Hola. Thank you for the update on your events. I'm really grateful to hear that you're addressing the issues with the construction. I do want to say that when I did, since you mentioned that you offer 100% response rate, I did submit the construction videos of the illegal construction to your office, and I hadn't heard back. So I did speak. I don't have an email, and you mentioned it to me the last time I saw you, and I don't have an email from you. So I had to check you in person for a response. So yeah, okay. So and since I sent the email, I was hoping for a response via email for confirmation. So that's all. It's not a big deal, but I'm just saying that if you're saying that there's a 100% response rate, I didn't get a response until I checked with her in person when she was here the last time I was at one of these board meetings. So I understand things fall through the cracks. You probably get a million emails, but I do appreciate all of the work that you're doing, especially because the combination of the things that you're mentioning between the electricity and the water and the failing infrastructure in the roads, we don't need another fire. And if the water is not, we don't have water pressure where I live, so on a daily basis in the morning, around 5 or 6 in the morning, that's just a dangerous combination of things. So I hope to be able to attend some of your events. I do get your things in the mail, but I appreciate that you are addressing those things. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll tell you one joke. 5 or 6 in the morning, all your neighbors up there, you rich people watering grass. Turn off the water, turn off the sprinklers, water pressure come up. I'm joking.
Okay, we have Celcito online. Celcito, go ahead online.
Aloha, Representative Morioka. I'd like to thank you for your diligent respond upon the community. And, everyone said they never hear from you and everything. Hey, you're in Wai'anae. You know he's out office. I mean, this is you're the first who ever gave our community an area where our kupunas don't have to catch the bus all the way downtown, but they can just go right in Wai'anae by Tasty Freeze. Everybody know what that is. So go into the office. So, but I really thank you for everything that you do, because we needed the help and we needed the difference. And I really strongly believe you and the legislature, our legislatures for our district is doing a darn good job, because there's no more hide and go seek. Right now it's all straightforward, and I really appreciate your office for responding to me. And it's not an easy job, but you know what? I'm proud we've taken a step and tried to make a difference. And I mahalo you and your staff to help making a difference. Mahalo.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And just to kind of reiterate what Auntie Gina, Auntie Kalea just said, the office in Wai'anae is still open. Even though we're back in session, myself personally and the team Capital now, who is our community liaison, she sits in the office. So you folks can still come to the office with questions, concerns. You guys can still come to the office and do testimonies. You guys can do Zooms, whatever you guys need to do. Whatever you can do at the Capitol office, we made it so you guys can do here in Wai'anae, except ride the long ride, take a whole day off of work, those things. We try to make it convenient for you guys by bringing the office here. And we get coffee, right, Auntie Kim?
Okay, we have no more in-person and online questions. Thank you, Rep. Moroka. Appreciate your time. Next, we're going to Congresswoman Jill Tokuda. Jill Tokuda's office. Anyone online? Okay, moving on. State Representative Darius Kila, District 44. Nope. And we're going to go back to Mayor Blangiardi's representative, Donna Puna. Okay, she logged off. So we're moving on to committee reports, in which we are going to not do reports. However, I will read off where the meetings are. So for transportation, Chair Lanford is the 4th Wednesday at Maili Community Park. And then Parks and Recreation, Ocean Safety, Chair Jordan, 2nd Thursday. And then Housing and Homelessness, Chair Peterson, 2nd Sunday at Pokai. And then Education, Health, and Public Safety is Chair Endo, 2nd Tuesday at the Wai'anae Assembly of God. And then Business Economic Development, 4th Tuesday here at the Wai'anae Public Library. Natural Resources to be determined, that's Chair Newman. And Hawaiian Affairs, Chair Kaukaohu Vahilani, to be determined. And all of this can be found online on the NCO's website. And then announcements. City and County Department of Parks and Rec, 55th Annual Senior Citizen Valentine Dance, A Suite for My Sweetheart on February 6th, 9 to 12 at 9 a.m. to 12 noon at Neo Blaisdell Exhibition Hall. And it's a free event. And then State of Hawaii Department of Transportation, Highways Division, the Draft Environmental Assessment Draft EA for Farrington Highway. If you go online, you'll find the link that you can click on to go to and check it out. And then you can submit comments by February 23rd by utilizing that link. Next regular board meeting, Tuesday, March 3rd, here at the Wai'anae Public Library, 6:30. And meeting adjourned.